the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in.
It's turkey time.
Yes.
For losers, it's Jack in the Box time, everybody. For the winners, eat your dry, bland bird.
You know, I'm making a turkey this year.
Really?
First time in my life.
From scratch?
No, I've raised it. I've plucked it.
So you are in the transformation to Jason Moore becomes a chef. You are the one doing the.
I am making
the bird.
I'm gonna spatchcock a turkey, and I'm gonna.
What? You're making up words now.
What was that word?
Spatchcock. I'm gonna.
Well, there's our hashtag.
Okay, I guess we got that one out of the way.
What?
Yeah, spatchcocking is.
Oh, come on, man!
It's a normal thing.
It's a family show, Jason.
It is a totally real, normal
It's
word.
a cooking method that involves removing a bird's backbone so it can lie flat while cooking.
Yes, I'm gonna take that spine out.
Hold on.
I'm gonna spatchcock that bird.
Hold on. We have a cooking method. You remove the bird's backbone, which that makes sense. And they're like, hey, D-spine? No.
Spatchcock.
What? Who made that word?
I don't know, but I think it was a 17-year-old boy.
At least, like, dispatch. I mean, like,
dispatch.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go there either. Listen,
either.
welcome to the
Megalodon.
Oh, man.
Oh, the Megalodon episode is off to a hot start.
Ordinarily, we do some special stuff on the Megalodon episode, which we will be doing. We're giving away a signed Justin Jefferson jersey, a signed Devon Achane jersey, a signed Breece Hall mini helmet. We get to talk about him in the news.
But I want to know about this turkey.
Tell me more about this spatchcocking.
By the end of the episode, somewhere throughout the episode, we will share an official hashtag. And you can tweet, tag us, and share the hashtag, and we will give away that signed memorabilia to a lucky Megalodon winner. We have Hungry for More NFL news. We got Turkey Day awards. We got starts of the week. We got the Thanksgiving Day games. We got the Parlay Partay. We got the Black Friday game. We got all the Sunday, Monday games. We've got the Fantasy Faceoff. We got the Wheel of Shame.
Did you say the Friday game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Black Friday game.
So making sure we didn't.
And by the way, I want to return. If we want to return to the bird because time is not of the essence today.
Yeah, right. We're fine.
If we want to return to the bird, we can return to the spatchcocking. That's fine. Well.
Was there more to the story, Jay, or was that kind of the
he's just going to be spatchcocking.
It's what I'm doing that immediately following this recording. I'm going home, taking out that spine, gotta do a dry brine from now until
this guy. Unbelievable.
I was going to say, first of all, it doesn't sound like a dry bird. It sounds like it's going to be very moist and delicious.
Oh, yeah.
Second of all, we got honey baked ham on the table alongside the turkey this year, Mike.
Nice.
So I know that you hit the top of the show with it's turkey time, loved it. Then you submarined it with your kind of ridiculous Jack in the Box Thanksgiving Day routine. Now, we learned yesterday on the Footcast that you are going to have the Thanksgiving of your life because you've managed to
ditch the family.
Ditch your family.
No, not the entire fam.
Most of them.
The wife and my daughter are going. They're going to take the 2-hour trek to do a bigger Thanksgiving with the in-laws. And I'm like, I can't afford that time. That's 4 hours of driving. I got 3 games that I need to. It's my job. And I take my job seriously.
Yes.
So me and the boys
staying home.
Oh man,
staying home.
Just football, video games,
and Jack.
Ultimate cheeseburgers. Maybe an bacon ultimate cheeseburger. I don't know what's going to happen.
No spatchcocking on your
not needed
Thanksgiving table.
So you just like throw a glove on and just like
rip it?
No, or is there a process?
No, you need shears. You're cutting through bones. It's
okay. All right.
It's pretty gnarly, actually. It's
okay.
Okay.
Well, welcome in. Like I said, pay attention to the official hashtag. We'll reveal it at some point during the show, even if we might know what it is already. We'll see.
You got to listen to the end because maybe it changes.
We will jump right in.
Welcome to Hungry for More, presented by Uber Eats.
Well, we'll mention some players that we are hungry for more production from as we head into the fantasy playoffs. But before we do that, I do want you to fill in a sentence for me. Thanksgiving meal is incomplete without what, Jason?
Stovetop stuffing.
Stovetop.
Specifically
See,
stovetop
for me, it is
stuffing.
the canned cranberry sauce. Mike, put yourself in a hypothetical situation
No. I mean,
where you're at a real Thanksgiving. What would it be for you?
I'm old. I've been to many Thanksgivings, and for the Wrights, it was I don't know if there's an official name for it, but it was essentially an orange gelatin.
Yes,
not a Jello,
like
but
a fruit,
but a gelatin, and then it would have mandarin oranges.
Oh,
and
yeah. I know. I don't know the name of that. But
it's a tasty treat.
That's your go-to.
Yeah.
You know, another thing that is more specific to my Thanksgivings, kind of it's a weird tradition, but when you start the cooking, you put a bowl of black olives on the counter and you eat them as you cook.
Interesting.
That's the second time this week I've heard somebody tell me that black olives and green olives are a big part of their Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I mean, they should be. They're delicious.
Yeah, I feel like olives are very polarizing.
Yes, they are.
Like
They are.
you either love them or you're like, what? Gross.
Yeah, I'm on the gross side.
Do we
have you ever seen them?
Yeah, they don't look great.
They look bad.
We're over in
you put them on your fingies. You have like little
like bugles?
Like bugles. You put them on your fingers. You can carry 10 at once.
Oh my gosh.
Sliding over to Deucer's Alley, Al Borland, Papa Josh, the Falcon, managed to make it in. I doubt the day after Thanksgiving they'll be in. So,
There's a long episode for you guys to make it through.
favorite Thanksgiving, like the must-have Thanksgiving Day side. Do you have one, Al Borland?
Stuffing.
Just
No.
good.
Had to think about it, but it's
Is
pretty
that
boring.
you too, Papa Josh?
I'm with Jason. Stovetop is an absolute requirement.
It's the only time of year I eat stuffing.
Huh.
Like, do you eat stuffing
makes
any other
sense.
time of year?
No.
Not really.
Do you always talk into the side of your microphone, or is that just today?
Yeah, you are very thin over there.
I apologize.
There you are. There
I can
you
hear
are.
you now.
Falcon?
Give me a good gravy.
Okay.
Yeah.
everything
All right,
tastes
yeah, that
better.
makes sense.
Give me a good gravy.
Gravy in, gravy out.
Look
All
how
right.
low my voice is. Give me a good gravy. I talk directly into my microphone. I'm just so much better than Owl.
Oh, my gosh. My hungry for more candidate, Tua. Yeah, I went with Tua because I could have chosen some player on the Dolphins who have been performing well on offense, but it's really Tua himself. Since he's returned, the Miami offense, 27, 23, 34 points. Took him a while to warm back up after he was on the shelf, but 76% completion rate, 7.5 yards per attempt. And the truth is, despite all the Jonnu, Waddle, Tyreek, Achane fun discussion, as Tua goes, this offense goes. We've learned that this year. If he's not on the field, they're nothing. When he is on the field, I think eventually it's going to work out for most everybody. So as you go down the stretch, I want to see Tua perform great. I'm hungry for more 300-plus yard performances because I think you're going to be happy with those players, and that includes Waddle. That includes Tyreek. I think Tua will be the key to your championship.
Mine is so similar to yours, Andy. It's Jordan Love. I am hungry for the passing offense of the Packers to be great. And if last year, it doesn't feel like it's good this year. I feel like we're waiting for the special magic of last year where he threw for 4,159 yards, had 36 total touchdowns. He missed 2 games this year, and then there was a weather game here. Last week was a blowout with 3 touchdowns rushing for Jacobs. But I think you'd be surprised to realize right now his 17-game pace is actually slightly better than last year. 4,239 yards of 34 passing touchdowns. But this week, in prime time on Turkey Day,
Facing Tua.
at home, I really want something special, magical. He's been way better at home. He's averaging 261 passing yards, 2.6 passing touchdowns at home. And then, the stretch run coming down, to the playoff weeks where you've got Seattle, you've got New Orleans, you've got Minnesota. Those are matchups that I really feel like could be league-winning matchups for if Jordan Love comes through and does what he can do, which is throw 3 to 5 touchdowns in some of those type of matchups. I want that. I want that to happen.
Yeah, it's been the Jordan Love experience this year has been marred by some injuries to him, but also receivers going in and out of the lineup. And you have not had a run. He's not had 2 top 10 performances back-to-back this year. So that's what you've felt.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have a hungry for more guy?
Yeah, mine is super selfish. As I was consuming this weekend's games, couldn't help but notice the Seattle Seahawks got down to the goal line. And instead of putting in superstar Ken Bone Walker, they put Charbonnet in there. So I am hungry selfishly, and hopefully there's plenty of fantasy managers out there as well. More Ken Bone touches inside the red zone. What is happening? It's
more Bone Zone?
It's the Bone Zone. It's not the Charbonne Zone. That's ridiculous at this time of year. And it's just this is the part.
It sounds like Jason's turkey is also the no bone zone.
That
You know what I
it is.
mean?
Yeah, you're taking some of it out.
Here's the thing. This is where I need the Seattle Seahawks to listen in to us nerds talking
Incline
about
the
things.
ear.
Yeah, look, Zach Charbonnet, 36th out of 45 qualifying running backs in rush.
Qualifying?
Qualifying.
Qualifying.
I'm a qualifying running back.
Qualifying
Is that
running
how he
backs
gallops? He's
in
like,
rush success
qualifying.
rate. 36 out of 45. So essentially, it is a negative play so far this year whenever Zach Charbonnet is running the ball. Just stop it.
I thought some of it was
give
he
to
was
Ken
banged
Walker.
up in this last game because he came off the field. He had like a little bit of an injury.
Walker?
And, yeah, I think he missed
Probably,
I think
but I don't care. Give me 50% of Ken Walker.
You've got a lot of analytics to talk about the success rate that when Charbonnet is there, it's a negative play for them. And I don't think you need any of that because if you
just
watch
watch
the game, you don't have to be a nerd with your spreadsheets to be like, why is the slow plotter in around the goal line versus the guy that always scores touchdowns when you give him the chance near the goal line?
All right, that was Hungry for More, presented by Uber Eats, where you can get the best deals on game day food all season long. Uber Eats, the official on-demand delivery partner of the NFL.
News and notes from around the league. Presented by USAA Insurance.
Okay, we do have news. We got to break some news for you. It's big because we have Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday games this week. J.K. Dobbins out this week, up in the air after that, so we got confirmation. We were talking on the waiver show about Gus Edwards. He was at the tippy top of our list, but we also just didn't know how long-term it would be. It's a knee sprain. Dobbins' injury onslaught for his entire career continues.
Yeah, I mean, him staying healthy for we had talked about this with Dobbins, the fact that they had the bye, he had so much work on him, and eventually you felt like it was going to come. I'm going to expect that this is a multi-week injury, but it does not seem like they're putting him on IR. So at least for now, we know that you could play Gus Edwards this week.
Isaiah Pacheco, a full practice participant on Tuesday. They're the Friday game. It seems like he's going to be back on the field. Matt Nagy's talking about the fact that the best part of having now Kareem Hunt and Pacheco is that you're not going to have one guy get more worn down by the fourth quarter. I mean,
that sucks. I mean, that's the quote of Nagy talking about that is basically being like, hey, now we can keep them both fresh and split the load, which is like, okay.
That's
fine.
100% what they're doing.
That's fine for your team.
For you.
But what about my team? What about my fantasy roster?
Especially if like Kareem Hunt happens to end up with goal line carries or fourth down salt game away carries.
I will say this.
And he's recovering from injury. Like Pacheco is coming back from an injury. Why would they overwork him?
Well, not only not overwork him, but I think they will barely work him. I think they will work him back in a little bit. That's my expectation, and we'll talk about that soon. But I think
talking like what Jonathan Brooks got last week, or a little
I
bit
think
more
a
than
little
that?
bit more than that.
Okay.
Yeah, but Kareem Hunt for this week, I think is still a good start. After this week, I get worried.
Speaking of worried,
Mm-hmm.
this is the biggest news.
Uh-oh.
Jets running
I'm
back
leave.
Breece Hall is not practicing. You're like, oh, okay. It says knee soreness. But their head coach said he's still hopeful Hall will play on Sunday. It's a wait and see. The problem here, Breece Hall tweaked his knee against Indianapolis before the bye.
Yeah, they're coming off of the bye, and he's not able to practice.
This
That
is such a bad signal.
Oh, man.
Now, you don't have him anywhere, right?
I have him everywhere. He's
Oh,
hurt
that's
me
what-
all year long.
And now he hurt himself. And so this is why
Don't worry, Jay. You can play Braylon Allen.
No, he can't.
No.
No, he can't.
No, I can't.
What? Yeah, this is the first thing I did. I went and I looked. I'm like, oh, well, of course Jason has Braylon Allen.
Braylon
he's
Allen's
not
been
ri-
rostered
he's not
all year.
riding dirty.
If
You go get him.
Yeah.
We've been saying it on
Yeah,
the show.
We have. You should listen to the podcast.
You go get your insurance running back.
Yeah, I got mine. Trey Benson's on my bench.
Yeah, but you picked him up off of waivers. Braylon Allen wasn't there for me to get. I would have gone and got him.
I traded for Algier and Corum.
Oh!
I fired Al Borland, so we can all do things.
Oh, sorry, you didn't know. You forgot to.
When you got big-time running backs who, like Braylon Allen, we've said it on the show. I mean, you just watch him this year. Braylon Allen looks like if Breece Hall misses time, Braylon Allen's going to go in and be great for
And-
fantasy football. That's why you have to go so hard after those guys.
So outside of dunking on me for not for riding dirty, which is my
Yeah.
fault, yes.
Yeah.
Braylon Allen could be a league winner. Their schedule down the stretch for running backs is perfect. We brought this up about midway through the year about how important Braylon Allen is as a backup. And if Breece Hall misses time, which isn't a guarantee yet, but if he does miss time, Braylon Allen, I think will be better than what Breece Hall was being because he will have it all. There's nobody that can vulture him on the goal line. He will just be a real dominant fantasy asset.
Yeah, it's wild news to get this morning after the bye week, not having heard about much of that on the bye week. But if for some reason he's out there in any league, you need to
Are you speaking slowly because you're looking at all?
I looked at all the leagues we were in.
You know what his roster percentage is listed at?
What's that?
Try to guess.
Braylon Allen? Let's go
It's gonna be
40 something.
yeah, it's gonna be like 38%, even though it's 100% of all my leagues.
30.
Yeah.
30%. Yeah, so if for some reason he's out there, that is a priority addition.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy DeVito has a sore forearm on his throwing arm, but he's hopeful he can play.
Now we have
He's
a picture.
the only one.
We have a picture in our doc. This is not a real
No,
photograph.
it's been modified.
All right. 'Cause
Someone's
All right.
got to tweet this out.
Schneider did that.
Jason,
okay, well, it was a real problem.
this picture, Al, I don't know if you can get this on the screen maybe
oh,
or on a back screen.
Yeah, give me a sec.
oh man.
This man,
You can't
if this
believe
is a
everything
real,
you see on the internet,
but
Jay.
this is a real picture. This man's arm is shattered. It is so broken.
Do you remember the picture of Jaden Daniels'
Yeah.
Yes.
elbow that looked? I mean, that looked just as fake. And it turned out it was a real photograph. Something was weird on the angle of his elbow, so I didn't know what
He
was
does
going
not
on. but-
have a full noodle boneless arm. All right, we'll show the picture when we get it. But Drew Lock taking first team snaps.
Oh, yeah, here it is. Yeah. oh,
Good work, production
my gosh. Yeah, that's good.
that's a sore throwing arm.
That's been doctored
So you're saying
just a little bit.
the Giants don't have another quarterback that they can just sacrifice the team with? They might
they
be
do.
forced.
They do have another one they can sacrifice. But
Well, I'm saying Drew Lock gives them a better chance to win,
yes.
in my opinion.
but not that great of a chance to win.
No, but
you know what I
it's-
mean.
It's
a better
it's
chance.
just improved.
Yeah.
But you'd be much happier, I think, if you've got Malik Neighbors. If
Drew
you knew
Lock
that
was
Drew
playing?
Lock
Yeah.
was playing.
Daniel Jones signing with the Vikings. I believe that was one of the 5 teams mentioned on the show yesterday.
Oh, well, we were just going through.
Well, no, it was just it was selective. It was the teams that Jason Jason highlighted good franchise. And so you start to think about who is capable of helping you. Like, we've already seen it with Darnold. Like, if you need a Daniel Jones, which you might, at least you've got a head coach or an offensive coordinator.
Yeah,
that
going to a McVay tree offense for any quarterback who's trying to rebuild their image and get that shmoney, it's a great decision.
So Vikings signed Daniel Jones for depth, and the Commanders, in a sign that Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler might be in trouble, they signed Chris Rodriguez to the active roster.
Yeah, we figured that was coming.
Which he has had some snaps this year, but it's more about just the depth chart and the fact that they may need to what did he have? Chris Rodriguez himself had 11 attempts, by the way, in Week 9, and I think they're only missing one of the running backs in Week 9. So maybe just something to pay attention to. You never know, no matter how vocal somebody is about that depth chart, no matter how many times you hear Dylan Laubie's got a big game plan coming and he gets 0 carries, just keep it in your mind if you've got a spare bench spot and you want to toss somebody down there. Chris Olave, quote, in a good place in his recovery, still seeing specialists and not practicing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was,
Yeah, hope he's okay.
And Greg D., former Halloween superstar here on the show, Greg Dulcich, claimed off of waivers by the New York Giants.
The weirdest thing of just Greg Dulcich as a tight end for the Broncos, highly drafted, has like a good rookie season.
Yeah,
for a rookie tight end, this guy
very impressive.
Played extremely well, and Sean Payton just hated this guy. I think he's been inactive since Week 4 or so.
Too much sexy.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
I'd be intimidated hanging around this guy.
Yeah, there's a reson I dressed up like him. The likeness, just perfect.
I'll bet Peyton would have cut Troy Polamalu. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
been like,
handle it.
Not that hair's too lush. Too lush.
That was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. Learn more at USAA.com/insurance. Do we have a drop for this next segment?
We do.
Is that this turkey button?
It is.
I'm a little disappointed you weren't the one that provided the gobble.
How do you know I didn't?
Yeah, I think
because your gobbles are better than that one. You're elite. You're in the top 1% of gobblers. All right.
Thank you. I've that's quite the compliment.
Yeah, Thanksgiving is a heck of a holiday.
Yeah, there's so much fun words we can use to describe it.
Listen, every single Turkey Day we give away the Turkey Day Awards. It's an opportunity for us to try to guess the winners here. We do it every year. All right, we'll start with the Thanksgiving meat. So the showstopper, the MVP
the protein
of Thanksgiving Day. Last year it was a tie. We the fantasy kind of MVP at this point in the season, it was CMC and Tyreek Hill as a tie. We need to guess this. This is not I don't even know who selected this. Was it Brooks?
I imagine Kyle Brooks producers combo.
Could be a team effort.
So who do you think the showstopper MVP of Thanksgiving Day is? I definitely have my vote.
Yeah, I had looked at this yesterday, and because there were 2 winners last year, I thought there were going to be 2 this year, and I was going to put both Lamar and Derrick Henry.
Yeah, no, that's where I was going, but I think the answer might be Saquon.
Oh, man.
I think the answer I'm going to go with Saquon as the Thanksgiving meat.
I'm going to go Lamar.
I am going to go Lamar as well, but the fact that you guys are not even mentioning Jamar Chase's name is –
it's not enough with him missing some time. Or, sorry, without Higgins, he had some lower production weeks. So
sure, but he is currently averaging 19.6 points per game.
He should be in there.
And the wide receiver, too, which – just let me double check. Is Amon-Ra St. Brown, right? Yeah, he's the wide receiver too.
Okay.
Amon-Ra is at 15 points a game. Jamar is almost 5 points a game.
But that's not happening on the regular. He had a 50-point game.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm gonna go with I'll go Lamar.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was slow for Chase though, right?
Yeah.
Is that why it feels that way?
It got off to a slow start.
Okay. The answer. It is Saquon Barkley.
Okay.
It looks like it's Saquon Barkley. Is Kyle with us?
I'm here.
And so the people can hear you. I'm going to have you reveal the answers since you were part of this when we get done with our guesses. Are you cool with that?
I can read. I can do it.
Okay. The next one's the mashed potatoes, or as we call them, Tiffany's mashed potatoes, because that is Jason's wife who makes the rich, buttery globs of mashed potatoes that everyone needs to add some body to their plate, a.k.a. it's the most consistent and dependable dish for a Thanksgiving feast. For me, this is the Lamar, the dependable Lamar. That's where I'm going to go. Last year's winner, by the way, Amon-Ra St. Brown for dependability. 2 years ago, it was Nick Chubb with the hashtag Thanksgiving.
I'm going Derrick Henry on this one because it's been every single week.
So I'm gonna go with this probably isn't the answer, but I want to give him a shout out. He has not had a single bad game, but he has missed 2, so that's probably why he's not in there. George Kittle has been as
if Brooks is involved, it could be George Kittle.
Rock solid,
so did
steady
you go
as
Henry?
possible.
Yeah, I'm going Henry.
Okay, that could be it. What is the answer, Kyle?
It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah, baby.
Derrick Henry, the most consistent, dependable dish on Thanksgiving Day. We'll go with the burned dinner rolls. So,
Oh, man. So
yeah,
many
this is
guys.
this is the player that is best represented by the burnt dinner rolls that were supposed to be part of the meal, but then unexpectedly burned, and you got to
in the garbage.
scrape the carbon shavings off of them and throw them away. Last year, it was Miles Sanders after the offseason signing in Carolina. The burned dinner rolls this year.
This is an easy pick for me.
Who is it for you?
It's the running back that was taken just before Kyron Williams and Derrick Henry. Travis Etienne.
Oh.
That's
Travis.
called a woof.
Yeah.
I mean, you took him ahead of 2 of the best options you could have had. And Travis Etienne has gone from, I mean, you forget how high he was drafted. He's gone from that to, like, I think you should roster him.
Yeah,
I would not drop him.
Yeah.
I think ETN is a good answer. I think Harrison would fit the bill. Marvin Harrison a little bit. I think Breece Hall would fit the bill a little bit. But I guess I will go with – I'm trying to think of proportion of – I'm going to go with Harrison. I'll go with Harrison.
Okay.
It's all about that average draft position of how much they burned you.
Back of the first round hurts.
Do you have an
lot
answer,
more.
Mike?
Yeah. I'm going to go with a guy who I loved and massive L on the season. I'm going Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
Okay. Kyle, what do we got?
Jason was spot on. It's ETN.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been like non-existent. That one makes sense.
That one is just that's hand on the stove. You know what I mean? And held down.
He was drafted 1 pick behind Harrison, but for what it means to your team with the running back position and how, like, Harrison's had games.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go Marv.
All right, the next award, the Mike Wright special, the Jack in the Box, the random dish that somebody brings because they're convinced Thanksgiving food is trash and outdated.
Yeah.
You got to open up your eyes and realize this could be the best thing ever. Last year's winner was Puka Nacua. This year's winner,
I've got my answer.
I've got mine.
how do you categorize this in your head?
In my answer, I'm categorizing it as I didn't see it coming. I'm surprised, and it's actually really good.
Joe Mixon. That's my answer.
Okay.
So I love that answer because this is Mike's Jack in the Box take. So I feel like Mike should answer Joe Mixon, but I'm going to go Bo Nix.
Bo Nix is my answer.
Because, I mean, this is a guy who
That's great.
was
And
– nobody really thought he was going to do what he's doing right
and
now.
it's a rookie, new player.
Yeah, even your love of Bo Nix did not necessarily – it wasn't necessarily a prescription for fantasy success. It was just like this guy could succeed and get there.
Right.
It's come quickly. Who's the answer, Kyle?
Laser Mayfield.
Oh, that's a good
you know
one,
what?
too.
We missed that one.
Laser.
Yeah, he could just be the best thing ever. And literally in the office yesterday, Jason's like, I love the Bucs. And I think it's because I love Baker.
It is. I am just rooting for that guy like crazy. I hope he gets his $12 million back from his pops.
And we do have a new award.
That's
Did you know
such
that?
a crazy story.
Well, Baker Mayfield's basically suing his dad
Yeah.
and brother for investment.
Yeah.
$12 million?
Basically saying they stole $12 million.
They probably don't have a good relationship.
No, it's
No.
probably fractured.
We have a new award this year, the Pumpkin Pie Guy.
Okay, pumpkin pie
This is
guy.
replacing the sweet potato casserole. Kyle, will you explain this award to us?
It's delicious in the first couple bites, but if you eat too much, you're probably going to vomit.
Interesting. So wait, is this somebody that started and you
or
were
someone who's just had some real spike weeks?
Huh.
I mean, this could be Marv.
This could be Marv. Some really nice looking stuff.
See,
some really bad stuff.
I don't relate to this award because I want to eat all the pumpkin pie. Like I do not. It's not too much.
Put it as somebody that drives you crazy.
Okay, somebody that Kyler Murray.
Pumpkin
pie.
Oh, that's the
Pumpkin
answer.
pie guy award.
That's
is
the answer.
It's Kyler.
Yeah.
That's
it. I mean, yeah.
I mean, as soon as you said Kyler, it's like that is the one where it's so good, but you can't have too much. You just don't know. He sucks, man. I hate Kyler.
To me, that's you're eating the pumpkin pie and you've got the beautiful, perfect bite. It's got the Cool Whip on it. And you put it up to your mouth, and then when you bite it, there's nothing on the fork sometimes. Like somehow it's just gone. But yeah, Kyler, the inaugural pumpkin pie guy, I love it. So let's jump into our starts.
Starts of the week.
I'll kick it off because this is an award winner. I'm going with my guy, Laser Mayfield.
That's your start of the week at quarterback?
That's my start of the week at quarterback. He didn't throw a passing touchdown last week and yet still balled out, was awesome, was in control, had a rushing touchdown, tons of yards. Buccaneers are tied for the third highest team implied total with 26 points this week, and they get to play against Carolina, who has been remarkably consistent. They're 29th in schedule-adjusted fantasy points to quarterbacks. They're 29th in yards per attempt allowed. They're 29th in EPA per pass attempts. They're just near the basement. And I think what we saw recently, especially this last week from Bryce Young, if he's improving and getting the offense moving a little better, that's just even better for
Right.
Laser Mayfield. So he is my start of the week.
I can tell you I'm playing him over the pumpkin pie guy this week in our dynasty team.
Makes sense.
So, okay. So quarterback, Mike, why don't you take it? Oh boy.
Look, on Thanksgiving, often we eat until we hate ourselves. So I'm going to start a guy, and we'll see if I hate myself afterwards.
I love that.
It's my streamer. It's Russell Wilson.
Unlimited.
Oh, it's not the diarrhea one?
Unlimited diarrhea.
Yeah. That
Unlimited.
there is definitely a chance for that, but look, Steelers Bengals 47-point over under. I mentioned all the stats for Russ yesterday, but again, Cincinnati 30th in schedule adjusted fantasy points to the quarterback position. This is one of those games that might start slow, and then towards the second half, once everyone starts cooking on the offensive side, I think that we could have a bigger game from Russ.
Well, I'm going to go with C.J. Stroud. I'm going to take C.J. Stroud as my start of the week. By the way, Mike, I'm going to ask for them at the top because I have gone with full underpants picks this week.
Okay, you need to see the Smith?
I need to see the Smith for all the picks. I don't need the most severe, like the most extreme
You need
metallurgy.
need a small, medium, or large.
I need
over
a
here.
medium.
Okay.
I want a medium for my picks.
Titanium underpants.
So all the picks that I got this week are players that rarely, if ever, I would recommend. And this week I feel like it is time. C.J. Stroud against Jacksonville, who he has massacred in his career as the quarterback, 12-4 and this
5 this
and
year.
5 this week, 345-2 against them. They're dead last against everything that you care about for passing offenses. And I think maybe Nico Collins might score and not have it called back on a penalty.
Impossible.
I mean, the last 2 weeks, if you just look at how C.J. Stroud's performed, those two callbacks, I mean, a 70-something yard touchdown and then the whatever it was, a 30, 40-yarder, both of them similar type of, Nico is so good at getting the ball in the middle of the field on a crossing route and scoring, having him back in the offense. I'm just so excited about C.J. Stroud this week. I think you can definitely play him.
Yeah, for sure. I am going with a running back start of the week who has only scored my important 10 fantasy point line once in the last month. If you have been rolling out Jonathan Taylor, it has been a bad experience. No touchdowns in the last month with Anthony Richardson.
What, like 3 fantasy points last week?
Yeah, that was a very, very difficult matchup against the Detroit Lions rush team. You're not getting the targets. You didn't have the touchdowns. This week, I think you're going to be much, much happier. The Patriots, this is a perfect offensive line versus defensive line matchup where I think they will be soft for the Colts. I think it is a get-right game for the Colts offense against the Patriots, and specifically Jonathan Taylor. I think he'll have a touchdown this week and a very productive outing.
Mike?
We talked about the news of this person has a teammate coming back, but I'm going to give you the confidence of if I have Kareem Hunt and I've been relying on him as that RB2/3, I'm still going to play him this week. I am willing to take the risk of will Pacheco get a whole bunch of work because I'm on Jason's side of I don't think he's going to get an abundance this week, and Kansas City is a 12-point home favorite on Friday. Raiders are 27th against running backs for adjusting if you adjust the schedule. And I think
the game script is so set up for Kareem Hunt because of Aiden O'Connell, them being at home. It's just a mess for the Raiders.
It might be the last hurrah here for when you can play Kareem Hunt, knowing that feeling good about it, I should say, but I still feel good this week.
Well, don't forget that I got them titanium underpants on tight, a little too tight. Rico Dowdle.
Woo, baby.
I'm going to make him my start of the week against the Giants on Turkey Day. Gobble, gobble.
Yeah.
Dowdle can work for fantasy football. And the Giants defense is 28th against running backs, 25th in EPA per play or per rush attempt. He's seeing 78% of the running back attempts. And if you give him a good matchup, they won last week. He was productive. I'm going to say that you can play Rico Dowdle this week with confidence, and I
don't mind it. And you love it,
and I love it. I love it.
At wide receiver,
he's the dish that nobody should have brought to the Thanksgiving meal, but then you try it and you're like,
okay.
That's not that bad.
Okay,
that's not that bad.
That's fair.
It looks bad. It's not that bad.
What dish would that be?
The one that looks the worst but tastes the best.
It's usually.
It's like a green bean casserole for people, I think.
Oh yeah, that's a good comp. He's the green bean casserole. At wide receiver, I'm going with a guy I think has the potential to be the wide receiver one on the week. George Pickens. The matchup against Cincinnati is wonderful. He has a 29% target share. He's averaging over 70 yards per game. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Do you remember the game against the Bengals last year in Week 16 where he had 195 yards and 2 touchdowns? That's the matchup this week. How many catches did he have in that game?
Probably 3.
Yeah, not very many.
No, I don't know.
He had 4.
Wow.
4 for 195. One of his catches was for -1 yard. So he's basically averaging like 60 yards a catch. Bengals right now, they're giving up big plays, and George Pickens is a big play machine, so he's a must start.
I'm going with Marvin Harrison Jr.
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Against the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings, they play 2 high safeties at the highest rate in the NFL, and yet Marv has converted 6 of his end zone targets versus 2 high into 4 touchdowns. That's the 3rd best in the NFL. He has a knack for being able to beat that type of coverage should it present itself. And just on top of that, like real nerdy stuff is just the 28th in passing yards per game allowed. Talking about the Vikings, 30th in schedule adjusted points to wide receivers. It's a good matchup because you have to throw on them. Vikings offense.
That game's
is
in Minnesota?
It is.
Okay. So you're going Marv?
Yep.
I got the underpants on. Don't forget.
Oh, we're not. What do you
But
got?
this button over here is dusty. I got to get the dust off of it.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
No.
Last week, Michael Pittman led the team with 7 targets, 6 for 96. Josh Downs is now week to week.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't reliable options in an offense that, despite how many completions Richardson has, they throw the ball a ton right now. His splits, Pity City, were better with Richardson than they were with Flacco, and it's that Patriots matchup where I think Drake May will get enough done on offense to make this game a little bit more Richardson dependent. A lot of people want to give him a pass on last week's performance because of the terrible play from tight ends, wide receivers. He lost 4 successful plays on major penalties. I think that this week Michael Pittman will be enough of a PPR play with upside, with touchdown upside, that you can get him into your lineup. strap on them underpants, and start Michael Pittman now. You might not say to do it again, but this week I think you can do it.
I completely understand where without Josh Downs and with Pittman looking really good last week, it's tempting. I worry about Christian Gonzalez, but man. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to go at tight end, of course, with, I don't know, maybe the tight end 1 since week 7. My dude, Jonnu Smith.
Can we boo this man?
On Thanksgiving.
Boo this man.
I'll boo myself. Yes.
You should not be allowed.
He's a very good play. That hasn't been
Yeah, full stop.
no, a very good fantasy play. I mean, since Tua returned those 5 games, he's targeted on 28% of his routes, gross. He's got 27 receptions, 299 receiving yards, leading the team. Disgusting. But it's happening, and it's going to keep happening. Tua's going to keep taking the easy Jonnu stuff, and that's fine. Start him. He's a good play. He's a good player. He is a good player.
All right, so Jonnu joins Zach Moss on your all-time Hall of Fame team.
He is a good player. Sometimes the enemy of great is good, not bad.
That's fine. Yeah, no, Jonnu Smith, Jason Moore, those two guys connected.
Start of the week.
Mike, your start of the week at tight end?
I'm going to pair with Jason's quarterback. I'm going with Cade Otton, a.k.a. last week's Cade Rotten. And
nice.
I get it. It's been not what you hoped for the last couple of weeks for Cade Otton. However, the past 2 matchups have been very, very difficult tight end matchups. Teams that they don't allow that position to beat them. He's still averaging nearly 7 targets per game, which is tied for 6th best. And the matchup, Carolina, dead last against fantasy tight ends. Most receiving touchdowns allowed to the tight end position, 7 in the last 5 games.
Well, I mean, you just look Noah Gray last week, right?
I mean, we had hoped that Cade Otton was at the point that he could overcome bad matchups. Didn't work out the last 2 weeks, but I think that you can go right back to him.
I think it will be a good week for him. I am in the struggle bus of the Otton plus matchup and going Taysom Hill and the involvement of Taysom Hill in the offense.
That's a tough one.
Which I think is where I'm going to go. But I wouldn't be surprised if Otton had a nice week. They did not need to do much other than hand the ball off last week against the Giants. So I get it. And if the underpants are on, you shoot your shot. And I'm going to go with the Muth getting Luth against Cincinnati. If you need a tight end off the wire, which some of you do, we had Scoon Man starts last week. The Bengals are just plain letting it happen. You know, you said you like George Pickens.
Mm-hmm.
I like what the Bengals do, which is to give you an opportunity. It doesn't matter if you're Disley or Andrews or Bowers or Njoku or the Ravens tight end scoring 3 times against you. That's where the Bengals let you win. And the Muth, he doesn't get Luth very much, but I think he gets into the end zone this week, and that's going to make the difference for my titanium start of the week. So we will wrap the starts. We'll take a quick break, and we'll jump into the forecast. I hear there are a lot of games to be played.
All of them this week.
All right, without further ado, we're jumping into the fantasy forecast.
It's time for Fantasy Forecast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
You guys doing okay? We're 40 minutes in. Do you need some smelling salts? Are you in good shape?
I'm all right for now.
I'm doing pretty good.
Okay, you just let me know if we need to wake you up. Back from the bye, we get Cincinnati and Jamar Chase back, the Bills, the Falcons, the Jags,
Goodness.
the Jets, and the Saints. So a lot of very relevant fantasy players on the way back. No buys, no bye weeks. 10 million matchups to go through, starting with 3 Thanksgiving Day games. Chicago at 4-7. They head to Detroit, who is 10-1. The DK Sportsbook line here, Detroit minus 9.5. The over-under is 48.5. And that gives the Lions an implied point total just under 30. The Bears just under 20. I mean, the Lions have just been a machine. And yet, for what it's worth, Guns Mahoney has not won on Thanksgiving Day, and Jared Goff is 0-3 on Thanksgiving Day. So, Jason, I'm sure you have the Bears winning this one.
I do not have the Bears winning this one. Yeah, I mean, the Lions have played nearly perfect. And the way that they're built, the way that they are coached, I don't see it faltering this season. They can lose a tough matchup, but they're not going to lose against a rookie Caleb Williams.
So they're I'm looking at the box score here. They won 24-6. They won 52-6 the last 2 weeks. Do you guys remember? Can you remember their loss? Do you remember who they lost to? The score was 16-20.
I do not.
I don't.
I know. It was week 2.
It was not a good team, was it?
It was
Oh, no, okay.
Laser Mayfield.
Good, so goodish team.
Well, you've said when that drop happens, you've said laser so many times that I assumed it was in the drop. Like
laser.
Well, there you are. Jared Goff, Caleb Williams, games at home in Detroit. You know, you got to be hyper confident in Jahmyr Gibbs and the core options here. David Montgomery is going to play. I don't really think you should think too much of this.
Yeah, I'd play David.
You're saying about the David Montgomery injury?
Yeah, I just think at this point we have enough history with Montgomery. I'm not going to factor – like if you're going to start David Montgomery, normally you start him this week. You don't adjust that based on the fact that he banged up his shoulder and they said he could have come back in and he's going to play. If he's out there, I'm playing him. I don't really see why – this is his former team that he has had big games against before. His anytime touchdown is -200.
Yeah,
so
that says he's expected to play and be confident. I think that's fine. I will say that I have mentally given Jahmyr Gibbs a slight bump up. Not that it matters. You're starting him no matter what. But I do think a few extra receptions, extra snaps are in the cards in this game.
I mean, on the Detroit side in general, I think your question marks are really just related to Jared Goff and whether you would start him this week, because more often than not, he's not been a good start. So Goff at home in this matchup, or Bo Nix or Kyler Murray, those are or Jordan Love. Like, I can't see myself playing Goff over those 3 other players.
I can't either.
But he could have a huge game. 30 points.
The problem with Goff is that if he doesn't have a huge game, he doesn't have a good floor. It's not like he's going to go out there and put up 15 points and be a little disappointing. He doesn't run the ball, and so you can end up with a game where he's going to go out there and score 6-7 points even in a blowout victory.
He had a #1 overall week in Week 11, and that was the surrounding games were 27th, 16th, and 24th. His consistency ranking on our site, if you've used the consistency charts, he's graded an F in consistency. Only 29% of his games over the last rolling 17 played are over 20 points at the quarterback position. So can you catch lightning in a bottle? Of course, you have the talent. You can catch Jameson Williams could have 2 70-yard touchdowns, but the odds are not in your favor there. And then Laporta right now, he's borderline not playable at tight end.
Yeah, I mean,
what a devastating – you talk about draft picks that were disappointments.
Yeah, I mean, he was the #1 drafted tight end, and he's pretty much not startable. Since Jameson Williams came back, Laporta has gone back to what he started the season as, which is a player that if you don't get a touchdown on his 1 or 2 catches, you're not very happy. And there have been other tight ends who have come to relevance. I mean, the Jonnu Smiths, Cade Ottens, Taysom Hills that were not even drafted. Those guys are all definite starts over Sam Laporta.
Scary start for DeAndre Swift in this one on the other side
it is.
Against the 3rd-ranked Lions defense that just shut down, what was it, Jonathan Taylor last week?
Yeah, I think Swift is someone that is – you look at your matchups and what your other options are.
Shift away from DeAndre?
Yeah.
Jay, would you play Rico?
I would play Rico, yeah.
Okay.
DJ Moore has had a couple of higher opportunity games. Is there anybody on this the Bears side that you're excited about?
No, not excited. DJ Moore would be the one I would play of the 3. Obviously, Keenan had a great game last week. Had almost 20 fantasy points. It was great, but he's been out there and he's been getting targets and not doing much with them. This is a tough matchup, so I'm going to trust the guy who has the manufactured touches, the screen game that we've seen working for DJ Moore recently.
The old heads have games here and there. The Hopkins, right? You get a big game here and there, but they don't generally do them.
The Lions defense has just been so good.
Yeah, I don't like the matchup, but it's a full desperation start. However, right now Keenan is looking at a 32% first read target share. Kyle, I assume that's from Fantasy Points. So they've made the switch under the new offensive coordinator. They're scheming Keenan targets now.
Would you play Keenan this week in this matchup or Xavier Worthy on Friday?
Oh man,
because I feel like that's the tier you're in.
Sure.
Or Jacoby Myers in that same Friday game. Those three players.
I think I'd probably play Keenan over all of them.
I would personally order them Jacoby Myers, Xavier Worthy, Keenan.
Remember, it's AOC.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were talking through Jacoby this morning. I still think Jacoby with AOC is going to get 10-plus targets.
Okay.
The New York Football Giants at 2-9 take on the 4-7 Dallas Cowboys. The DraftKings Sportsbook line, Dallas -3.5. The over-under is just 37 points on Thanksgiving. It's Cooper Rush. It's Tommy DeVito. Not quite what you probably hope to be seeing on Thanksgiving if you're either of these fan bases. This is the lowest total of the week.
If you ate too much, you're going to.
Yeah, I mean, this will put you right to bed.
Yeah.
Dallas, this is their lowest total on Thanksgiving in 20 years. So
most importantly, it looks like sunset is 5:22 p.m.
Yeah, Kyle has put in a lot of solar analysis here. Kyle, can you break down what is happening here?
Yeah,
are we going to have sun trajectory right into the windows?
There will be sun, yes.
Oh, man.
There will be sun glaring in.
But where's the moon?
It shouldn't be too bad. I mean, it's a 4:30 kickoff. You figure a 5:22 sunset, you should be good for most of the game. Second half, no sun.
Do they have to pick? Like, if you win the toss, are you picking sun-based decision-making based on the sunset? Because
Jerry would have you
You should.
think that.
Like, if you know when the sunset is, which apparently we know years in advance, according to Jerry, you should be picking side, right?
That does actually make sense.
It would make sense.
But it literally only makes sense for a game like this. It's a 4:30 p.m. kickoff time. So this is the chance to be such a smart
to have
coach.
a sweet advantage.
Just what a great home field advantage they have.
Wow. What they should do, we all been saying put up curtains. You want the home field advantage. Turn those glass panels into magnifying glass panels.
We can't do it.
Start burning your enemy.
Like the ants.
Yeah. Yeah, like the other team is the ants.
But your team would be too.
Yeah.
You're on the same field.
I don't think that's a good idea.
Got to play the clock right. All right, Rico Dowdle's my start of the week with the titanium underpants. His DK rushing line's at 65.5.
That's pretty good.
I can live with that.
And he's been getting work in the passing
Yep.
game. So if you've got a line of 65.5 rushing yards, and then he's averaging 3 receptions per game over the last 5, that's a good baseline.
I like Tyrone Tracy, the player, on the other side. I don't like all the peripherals. I don't like the on the road.
They're
I don't like
concerning.
Dallas defense being healthy. I don't like the fact that he's fumbled in 2 straight games. I don't like the fact his quarterback could be rotating at some point during the game. I don't like the fact Devin Singletary had a goal line touchdown last week. So Tracy is – he's in play, but he's riskier than maybe some other weeks.
I would agree with that. Last week he was down to 41% of snaps. He had been up at 72, 80% when he was breaking out. I agree with you.
Stop fumbling, man.
I like the player, and I'm not worried about the matchup here. I don't think Dallas's rush defense is something that is scary. So he's certainly – he's got a 64.5-yard rushing line. So the expectation is still that he is the primary guy. I think you can start Tyrone Tracy, but this is going to be a nerve-wracking start because – if he were to go out and fumble again, I wouldn't doubt that he just gets – yeah, exactly.
CeeDee Lamb, you're still playing him.
Yeah.
But he has now slipped into, ironically, a category that is almost matched on the other side of the field in Malik Neighbors, which Malik Neighbors doesn't have a lack of targets. Let me read you his targets for his last 5 starts. 8, 13, 11, 10, 9.
Beautiful.
He must have had great performances.
His fantasy finishes 43, 38, 29, 30, 26.
That's
Yeah, he's been basically about 10 points a game for fantasy. He's not destroying you, but you're not getting those big explosive games. You don't expect
no touchdowns.
And if Tommy Cutlets is the quarterback, I think you're just going to expect more of the same. Plenty of targets, not very valuable, probably no touchdown.
Who do you like more, Lamb or Neighbors?
Oh, Lamb.
Now, CeeDee Lamb is what the rest of the season, because everybody's going to still play him, but he was the wide receiver 19 last week, 20 the week before, double-digit targets in 6 straight. The rest of the season, CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver
17.
Oh, I think 10.
Nah.
He's getting. I mean,
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't think 10, because I don't think he's going to have many.
You have to have touchdowns.
Yeah, I
And
don't think
he'll
gonna
get a
have many
few, but
touchdowns.
he's still a top 20 play, which is that's every week.
What did you say, Mike?
17.
That's a number I would pick. Maybe 15 to 17. Does that help at all if I move it to 15, Jay?
Sure, that's fine. I'm just curious. He's got 4 games without Dak now, and I'm curious where he is.
4 games without Dak, he's probably sitting
Wide receiver
30.
In those 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, he finished 24, 51,
You had
20, 19.
You had the abomination where Cooper Rush.
I mean, 51 was a full allotment of snaps in that game.
Yeah,
Do
he's
you have the number?
Yeah, I've got the number. He's the wide receiver 22.
Okay. Still playing.
Any other options in this game? Schoonman?
I mean, Schoonman. Ferguson has Jake Ferguson has been a DNP over the week. I would expect it'll be Schoonmaker again. It's not like the Giants are
Bad matchup.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup, but I mean, look, desperate times. It could be worse. That's what I'll say for Schoonmaker.
Yeah,
Would you play Schoonmaker or Sam Laporta? I would go Laporta.
I'd still play Laporta.
the Miami Dolphins are 5-6 and travel to Green Bay to take on the Packers in Lambeau, 8-3. A fun Thanksgiving Lambeau game here. DraftKings Sportsbook line Green Bay -3.5. The over/under is 47. This is an interesting game to me. Miami really needs this game.
Mm-hmm.
The line is not huge, 3.5. We have, a couple of teams that have been a little bit schizophrenic on offense at times this year. Josh Jacobs went crazy last week. Is that the recipe to success you're going to see again this week from the Packers offense? Because the Dolphins, especially in the last 6 weeks, have been much better against the run than they were to start the year. They're 22nd on the year, but they're 6th over the last 6 weeks. And this is the time of year you got to look at smaller sample sizes in the games played.
Yeah, for sure. You also have some weather here. This is going to be a very cold night game, chance for some snow. So Lambeau, Thanksgiving, NFL-wise, this is exciting.
It's a fun game.
I
wish my family was gone and I had Jack in the Box and an empty house.
I'll let you know how it goes.
We are obviously, based on our hungry for more, we're really hopeful that this is an offensive.
Yeah, you are.
Andy wants a great game from Tua. I want a great game from Jordan Love, because this on prime time Thursday night could be a really special outing if these offenses come to play. But with the cold weather, both defenses being pretty good, the run game of Josh Jacobs and potential snow, this has a wide range of outcomes.
I agree, and I hope, the over-under is 47, so that leans itself into we're going to get points on the board, and the offense for, we talked about it all in the beginning of the show. You talked about Jordan Love's season pace, and we talked about how Tua's been playing. So, Achane we know is a lock. When he plays with Tua, they are a machine. Now, why he wanted to stop at 24 yards last week, nobody's going to know. Maybe he heard the show.
I'll show you.
Jalen Waddle. Are we chasing? 8 for 144 and a touchdown. Nine targets is a big number. If you're playing Hill over Waddle?
Yes.
Yeah, you are. You're still
Okay.
playing Hill over Waddle, but
And you're playing Waddle over Jonnu?
the fact that you can
I don't know about that.
Is the kind of roulette here? Are you playing Dolphins roulette at this point?
A little bit.
It feels that way.
a little bit, but I think the safest option is Jonnu which is my frustration. Like, that is why I don't
You
like
don't
it.
want to have to say that sentence. That's what makes you feel gross.
100%. Jonnu should not
Hall
be
of
the
Famer
safest.
Jonnu Smith.
He should not be the safest option on a team with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle.
You know, really on both sides of the ball, there aren't safe options in the wide receiver rooms.
No,
That's
I mean,
the problem. Like Jaden Reed
could have an excellent game. We know his potential, but he's had more lousy games than good games recently. I mean, you go back all the way to week 7. He has one game with double-digit fantasy points since that time. You know, this is a player who's often out on the field about 50% of the time. You can start him because he's also a player that can go out there and get 2 touchdowns, but it's complete roulette on that side of the ball.
So are you going like Romeo Doubs is the he's like the full-time guy. Like, I mean, it's been up and down recently because of some injury stuff, but like he's the one who's out there all the time. You know, it includes running plays and things like that. So who is now hurt? Yeah, Romeo Doubs.
I just want to say that out loud again,
Yes.
just so people understand.
That's where we're getting with Romeo Doubs will be missing the game with a concussion. So Christian Watson, like Dontavian Wicks, the draft Twitter's favorite, it's possible, of course. But it's like, does Watson move into a more full-time role, which makes him more exciting?
I'm looking at Christian Watson, dude. He has 4 games this year. This is outrageous. 4 games where he played his normal allotment, where he has 1 or fewer points. So can you play him? Yeah, you could try it. I'm starting to wonder if we're focused on the wrong position as the beneficiary of Dobbs' absence.
Are you thinking maybe it's Tucker Kraft?
I'm thinking maybe it's Tucker Kraft in the tight end room. Maybe it's the passing game with the running backs.
The Dolphins' defense has been hard to nail down because at some points in the season, their offense without Tua made you question how much of that was their defense. Like you said, recently their poor defense against running backs has been very good, but consistently over the last 6 weeks, the course of the entire season, they've been beaten up by tight ends. I think Tucker Kraft is a good play.
I think both Watson and Wicks are going to be dart throws, and they can be without Dobbs there. And they're favored, and they're 25-point line. It's just going to be scary. You're going to be it's like starting Rashad Bateman. You're like, you're like, I know he's not the whole offense or even a big part of it, but he can catch a touchdown.
I think that's a fair tier comp, but I would give it just a couple points of probability better with the Dobbs injury.
Well, unfortunately, we get to move into our Parlay Partay, and when I say unfortunately, it's because Devon Achane decided to upset my 25 receiving yards by having 24. Ooh. And then, Jason, we are –
oh, man.
You're going to have to grab a clown hat, my friend, because you and I are clowns together.
5.5 receptions for Brock Bowers. Had 10 targets. Come on.
We got any crowns back there?
Yeah,
still, guys?
Nico Collins 70+. You can crown it up.
Always bet on Nico Collins, baby.
Dude, I mean, it's just like a gimme. Nico is so good.
Yeah, let me get this crown
So
on.
we're jumping into Parlay Partay right now because we are going to do a Thanksgiving edition this week. We had been on fire, by the way.
The king.
We had 7 of 9, and then we double clown this week. All right, Thanksgiving edition this week. Let's start off with our successful king on the other side of the table here.
The king of the castle says Rico Dowdle.
Now that's how you lose your throne.
Always bet on Nico.
What could go wrong with betting on Rico Dowdle?
Spelled Nico with an R.
Yeah. Okay, rhymes. It's close enough. We're adjacent. 60+ rushing yards. The Giants allowing the 3rd most rushing yards per game to the running back position. This is simply if the Cowboys don't pull any of their stupid shenanigans, which they have done countless times already this year, but I think we're finally locked in that Rico is the guy, and if he is the guy, 60 rushing yards, it should be no problem.
I'm going Tua 225+ on the passing yards line in that Green Bay game. I just don't think they're going to be able to compete and keep up in that game unless they're throwing the football. I don't think they're going to win with just the running game. He's been averaging 255 since his return.
What?
55. And he's hit that 225 plus line in 4 or 5 starts. I'm going to go with Tua's 225 plus.
And I mentioned how I have a mental bump up for Jahmyr Gibbs in this game. I think he'll gets a few extra snaps. I'm going to take his over on 2.5 receptions. He had 3 receptions last week. He's averaging 3 targets a game. And the Chicago Bears defense, you look at the last month, Aaron Jones hit it against him. Josh Jacobs hit it against him. James Conner hit it against him. So Jahmyr Gibbs with a few extra snaps, I think gets over that 2.5 reception total.
It's interesting because I've been actually really disappointed in Gibbs' design plays to him in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
He's only got 26 receptions on the season.
It's weird because he's such a great pass-catching back that they don't use because they just don't need to. They're like,
it's kind of
what we're doing works.
It's like the Laporta thing. Laporta's the same player. They just don't need to use him. He's only on pace for 40 catches this year after 52 last year.
Whoa, and Montgomery
Monty has more than him, or the same amount.
Montgomery has 24.
There you go. So we will are we allowed to de-clown? Is that permitted, Al?
You are allowed.
Oh, gosh. Good.
Can I stay the king?
You know what? That's your choice, Mike.
Well, I'll join the team.
But we have a...
I, too, am very humble.
We have a Black Friday game to get to before we get into our Sunday, Monday games. The Raiders are 2-9, and they have the privilege of having to fly to Kansas City and take on the 10-1 Chiefs. The DK Sportsbook line, Kansas City -12. The over-under's 42.5.
15 points for the Raiders.
Yeah, it's not good.
How do they get 15 points?
Here's what I'll say. The Chiefs are barely hanging on in every game. They're not winning decisively. They have not covered a spread in 5 weeks, 5 straight games. So their lines are always, they played Las Vegas back in week 8. They did not cover. Tampa, Denver, Buffalo, Carolina. They were 11-point favorites last week to Carolina. They won by 3. Do I think that we're going to be surprised here? No, but do they win by less than 12? Probably. The way that things have been going. The Mahomes, in the Mahomes era, they've been 12-plus point favorites 11 times. They've only covered 4 of those. So, I'm sorry, 5 of those, and they've hit the under in 7 of the 11. So, it's always hard to predict how they're going to take care of business. They will at home, but I think Kareem Hunt is a safe bet. I think the wide receiver room is terrifying, and I sure hope that our tight end room isn't becoming more terrifying with Noah Gray's involvement. If Noah Gray scores again this week and Kelsey doesn't, that's going to be a really weird conversation heading into the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah, it's the Noah Gray touchdowns always feel like they're just it's the misdirection of everybody else is opening things up for him. So I don't know that you can really bank on it. Jason is scrambling and writing some things down.
No, I was just looking up. I wanted to see on the Aiden O'Connell side. He started in week 6. What were his tendencies? How did things go? And it, because I don't remember week 6 like the back of my hand. There was no Jacoby Myers. There was no Devontae Adams. So he was playing with a hodgepodge of wide receivers. Brock Bowers was great, but he was, obviously the only man standing. 28% of the targets went to the running back room. 27% of the targets went to Brock Bowers, who ended up with 9 for 71, caught 90% of his passes. I believe that Jacoby Myers and Brock Bowers are fine plays. Not Bowers you're always going to play. But I think Jacoby Myers is a safe floor. Not a huge upside play by any means, but if you're looking for a wide receiver, if you're comparing him to Christian Watson, if you're an underdog and you need to take that shot at a 70-yard touchdown, okay, that's fine. But like Andy said, the floor there is a point. The floor for Jacoby Myers, if you're in a full PPR league, should be 8-9 points. His ceiling's probably 12-13, but I think he's safe-ish.
What kind of decisions can you even make elsewhere in this game?
Well, the running back decision is very difficult because we don't know for sure whether Zamir White with the quad injury will be back. Well, I would assume Alexander Madison will not be.
Alexander Madison was limited practice.
Okay.
on Tuesday, and Zamir did not practice.
And then you have Amir Abdullah, who, like I said, in the Aiden O'Connell start, I know they were short wide receivers, but he was throwing to the running backs a lot in that single week. Amir Abdullah is a good pass catcher. But then you've got the problem of the matchup. Like, running backs don't do well against the Chiefs. So do you just bench all the running backs, whoever it is?
Preferably, yeah.
What if it was like the McNichols versus Abdullah?
McNichols.
I'd go.
McNichols has a rough matchup. I mean, that the Tennessee.
Yeah, they're both rough.
They got
matchups.
Chris Rodriguez, who got 11 carries the week before. That might be more platoony.
It will be. They'll
But
split
you
it
still
up.
would go with McNichols.
Yeah, I feel more confident in that. Where it's like if Madison is really back this week, if Madison is gone and it's just Amir Abdullah, then you can ride again and just hope you get 4 or 5 receptions, but you don't have you don't have Gardner. You know, Gardner liked throwing Abdullah almost had 2 touchdowns. I don't know if that was a play that they were going to. Will they go back to that design? That part I don't know with O'Connell.
Do you feel like if you're the Pacheco manager, are you trying your hardest not to play him this week?
I am trying not to. Yeah, he's not, because of the injury that he's coming back from. Like, it's not just a couple weeks. Oh, he had a sprained ankle. I mean, the guy can't be in football shape. I know he's at full practice, but that's a really long time to have a fracture in your leg and go play an NFL game. That sounds like a really big ask for him to get volume.
It's a huge ask.
Yeah, thank you.
Patrick Mahomes and that 3-touchdown run he's been on.
Yeah, I was going to bring his name up. He's a questionable start. The matchup is great. He's been
Baker
getting it done.
or him?
I'm going to go Baker.
I'd play Baker.
Okay.
But
Kyler?
No.
I'd go Mahomes.
Okay. Yeah, it's
man,
been better, but I mean.
Hopefully we are back.
Okay. All right. A reminder to the Foot Clan, to everybody out there, take your Thursday and Friday players, get them out of your flex spots, get them into your positional spots. It's very important.
Yeah, never more important than this week. You will have players going on Thursday, and you don't want your flex spot unavailable for late week craziness. Give yourself that.
You remember Tommy Cutlets and the noodle arm that you thought was real?
That disgusting.
He's not flying. There it is. He's not flying. He's not flying with the team to Dallas, and he didn't practice.
I would imagine.
He's not flying with the team to Dallas? Is he driving or is he not going? Because if he's not going, I'm going to say he's not starting.
It is.
I don't know anymore. That just got reported.
It is very weird to have that information is available to us, and they're not just like, hey, he's out.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
No, we're still putting him. The tweets are coming out. It's a long shot.
Okay, can we just
he can't throw from New York. He doesn't have that kind of a.
His yards would be unbelievable.
Yeah. So maybe it's going to be a Drew Lock opportunity.
Okay, all
which
right.
is maybe a little bit of a bump ski for Neighbors upside, but
and Tyrone Tracy too.
All right, the Chargers at 7-4, taking on the 6-5 Atlanta Falcons. I don't know what the Falcons are, to be honest with you. That's part of my curiosity this weekend. Well, okay.
Yeah,
I guess
they're predator. They're a predator bird. A bird of.
You almost said
of
eagle.
prey.
You almost said they're predator eagles, didn't you? You tried to explain it to me and almost called them eagles.
But I didn't. So you can't say anything.
DraftKings Sportsbook line, Chargers -2.5 on the road. Over-unders 48.5. Both in the playoff mix.
The Falcons should be good.
That's my point. Is I don't know what they are.
But are they?
No one knows. I wonder if they would be better, like if you had Byron Murphy or Jared Verse or any one of these players.
I see.
Like a top 10 caliber draft pick in the NFL helping this team out.
Not Michael Penix on the bench.
Right. I feel like it's time to check in on that and be like, this team can win. They just feel like they could really use a first-round pick.
So, both teams started slow. They were running the football a lot. Now both of them have been much more pass-happy offenses. It didn't translate to a lot of success for Atlanta in their last matchup. They've lost 2 straight. Kirk Cousins has only been a top 12 quarterback one time since week 6.
It was a good time, though.
It was a really good time. I hope at home in this game that they can compete. Ironically, despite the fact the Chargers have a better record, they're a much lower seed in the AFC than the Falcons sit right now in the NFC. But
I mean, the Chargers are road favorites, so I think that shows you what we think of Atlanta.
So does Herbert continue doing what he's been doing?
Herbert does for sure.
So you're in.
Herbert's a must start with J.K. Dobbins.
Is that because you hate the Atlanta defense?
I mean, I actually don't hate them. I love them. They do great work for what I need.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, he will not have Dobbins, and the offense did look a little bit disheveled without Dobbins on the field because we said, like, is the Gus bus good enough? He's averaging a robust 3.3 yards a carry.
The bus has some tires that, like, you wouldn't want to drive behind that bus.
The little light is definitely on.
Yeah, there's a few lights on.
Some rust on the Gus bus.
The tread on the tire could come flying off at any moment. Where I'm curious here is what is the game plan now that they know they don't have Dobbins. Where going into the last matchup, they're counting that Dobbins is going to be taking all of these touches, and now that he's out, do they just air it out a ton more?
I think they'll be forced to throw the ball in this game. So I really like Justin Herbert. Ladd McConkey has been very good. I even think you can play Quentin Johnston. Obviously,
yes, you still can.
He had a goose last week and a ton of drops, and a lot was made, and it was in prime time. It was a bad look, a bad experience, but he is going to get enough targets in this game. On the season, if you adjust for schedule, Falcons are 32nd at fantasy points given up to wide receivers. So huge. You shouldn't just drop him because he dropped the ball.
He's not getting benched by the Chargers. He's
Right.
going to be out there.
Exactly.
He benches himself.
Sometimes.
Here's the thing that I see as a problem for the Chargers offense in this game and moving forward. You have 2 targets on the year for Gus Edwards. You have 0 on the year for Hassan Haskins. You have 2 targets on the year for Vidal Sassoon. So you don't have – the Eckler isn't there. Dobbins was more versatile. You don't have that underneath. Is it the tight ends that are going to step up? Is Will Disley going to be somebody that you can start because you don't have options and he's a check down? That's what I'm curious about, because one thing that Herbert's amazing at is you watch his read progression in the pocket and then he goes to that check down at the end of that progression. And I don't know if these running backs, maybe he has to do it and Gus has to try to catch the football. But that's my concern about their offense moving it.
And what's ironic about that is that the Falcons are one of the teams that gives up the most receptions to running backs. So you've got a quarterback with a tendency to throw to a running back, a team that they give up those plays a lot, and you don't know if you've got a running back who can do that. Because Gus Edwards, it's not just like, oh, he's got 2 receptions on the year. He's never
1 reception,
been
2 targets.
He's never been what's his career high, like 13? I don't know.
It is very low.
It ain't his thing, man.
It's very low, but he has also been very efficient at times. I'm remembering a season. This was probably, I don't know, like 5 years ago, but his yards per catch was outrageous.
His career
14
receptions is 31.
Yeah, he had a year with a 14-yard per catch average. Like that's.
Yeah, I mean, it was 9 catches.
Yeah,
right.
He's almost,
that's fine. Given if it all happens in this game.
In his career, he averages, you're going to love this, 6 catches per season.
Yeah, career high
that's not happening.
Career high is 12.
So the third down back, can they catch? That'll be a question. McConkey's been catching his targets. He's running a ton of routes. He has been very valuable, and he will continue to be a PPR guy.
And he's going back home to Georgia.
Yeah, Ladidi is in play.
Ladidi and Bowers are both leading the rookies in receptions, I think.
Georgia boys.
Maybe it can't be receptions, right? Neighbors has to have more receptions than McConkey.
For Brock, that makes sense.
Yeah, let me look at this. 49 for 698 is where Ladidi is currently sitting. So he's having a very good year.
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Cousins, Bijan, London, and Mooney, which we got word that Mooney is practicing and feeling good.
That's great.
So
I mean, you're going to play a lot of players in this game. You're going to play Drake London. You should play Darnell Mooney. I think you can play the wide receivers on the other side of the ball. Gus Edwards is probably started. If you picked him up, you know, I mean, I see him as kind of a low-end RB2 this week.
We are down in the pits again.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, the 1 catch, 4 catches, 1 catch, 11 yards, 23 yards, 9 yards. No touchdowns, no involvement.
Could have drafted Bowers.
Yeah. Who would you play, Big Montana or Kyle Pitts?
Montana.
Yeah, I agree.
Just take the floor?
Oh, take the song. Will Disley, we love you. Montana strong.
I wasn't even doing a bit, guys. I was asking a genuine question.
Oh, I knew where it was going.
Well, the answer's the answer, Mike. You don't get a choice. If the answer is that man, you're Montana strong in that tight end spot.
I think I would play Will Disley over Sam Laporta.
You feeling good about Bijan rest of season in terms of like league winning potential? Chargers, then the Vikings, then the Raiders, Giants, Washington in the playoffs. Seems
yeah, that
nice.
feels pretty good.
Coming off a bye, he had a really hot stretch right before the bye week. I expect him to be awesome down the stretch.
So what? This one's Los Angeles -2.5. Is that too?
You can take that if you believe.
If you want.
Andy's almost upset of the week.
If you don't give the cook the right ingredients, they can't make something that tastes that good. And that's where I feel Justin Herbert is right now. He's a masterful chef.
You gotta do the cooking by the book.
But you can't. Wow, that is.
Can't be lazy.
Okay.
But you can't. Boy, he heard the word chef, and he's like, I've got this in the archives over there. But you can't. He just doesn't have enough to work with.
Is it because of Dobbins?
No, because of beyond Dobbins. But I've been talking about
Because
this
of Huge?
for 3 weeks. They have been a good receiving option away from being what you need. They've kind of forced their way into these games where they're barely getting by, but he does not have the weaponry.
I mean, he's been a top 12 guy for 5 straight weeks.
It's not a fantasy argument. I'm talking about the upset here. I'm talking about the Chargers. If you give Herbert a master chef, not enough ingredients, he can't make.
Gotcha.
He can't make something delicious every week, and you can't throw the ball to McConkey on every play. And when you don't throw it to McConkey, literally everything else you can do in the offense has a question mark next to it. If Will Disley is getting this much coverage on this podcast, that tells you everything you need to know about their offensive weapons is all I'm saying. But we'll move on. The Steelers at 8-3. Mike's favorite player, Russell Wilson, taking on the 4-7.
I don't like where that has gone.
The 4-7 Cincinnati Bengals. The DK Sportsbook line, Cincinnati -3 at home. The over/under is 48.5. Now,
It's moving up?
Is that line surprising to you when you have the 8-3 Steelers and the 4-7 Bengals?
It's not that surprising to me. The Bengals are a much better team than their record, and I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are as good as their record. So apparently the sports books agree here with the Cincinnati favored by 3 points.
I think the 3 is interesting. That is one would be more
what your expectation is.
And this is, maybe a reflection on the offense for Cincinnati has been outrageously good. They should have pulled off the upset against the Chargers. They almost did. Burrow, QB2 on the year. Chase Brown has been a revelation.
Joe Burrow has been so darn good. I mean, I feel so bad for the man.
Yeah,
and
it's like a waste of a MVP caliber season.
Yeah, I mean, he might be the best quarterback in the league this year, and he's 4-7. He's on pace right now for 4,600 yards and, 41 touchdowns.
I mean, that is what you want to hear if you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins.
Yes,
so they're a pretty easy start-sit decision-making situation. Burrow, Chase Brown, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, end it.
Yeah,
that's it.
Great.
You're done.
All those are in everybody's lineup who has them.
On the other side, it's not that complicated either. You have George Pickens, Jason start of the week. Mike, you like Russell Wilson if you need him.
Yes, that's more what
it's not a start him over known commodities. It's a streamer with confidence. And then Najee Harris, Jalen Moore. That is the running back decision-making process where the Bengals have improved against the running game. Najee had his first single-digit game last week in a long, long time, maybe since week 3. So where are you with the Najee, Jalen Warren experience, Jason?
I mean, Najee is still I believe he is the only one that I would want to start. It's not like he's not getting massive amounts of work. Even this last week where Jalen Warren got the touchdown, he had 16 carries, 18 the week before, 21 the week before. He is he's a good, hardy player, and in a matchup like this, divisional opponent, I would be happy to start Najee.
I mentioned the Muth if you're desperate. If you need an off-the-waiver-wire start, the matchup's at least good there, but have the underpants firmly fastened.
Mm-hmm.
This is a do-or-die game for the Bengals. You know what I mean? Like, they have to win this ball game to give themselves a shot at 10-7.
Fantasy community.
Y'all are rooting for
Yeah, we need to form some sort of aura force here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm
The
sorry,
Striped Alliance.
I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. You're 8-3. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
We need Cincinnati to win and keep them happy and their offense going.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, if they go to 4-8 and they're basically out of it,
Oh, my gosh.
the fear of these
Yes.
fantasy assets being shut down
Not
too
T.
early.
Higgins. I mean, well, he'll shut
himself down. Yeah. Oh, my quad is hurting now.
If they can get by Pittsburgh, right? So listen to this. This is where your excitement can rise. If they can get by Pittsburgh, you get to play Dallas. You get to play Tennessee. You get to play Cleveland. Then you get to play at home in Week 17 against Denver. Winnable.
Yeah, I mean,
So
they can go on a run.
You could go on the playoff run. That their offense
But
and their team has been.
They have to win this.
They have to win this
and
game.
this one's tough.
Yeah, but they are favored. Arizona 6-5 going to Minnesota to take on the Vikings 9-2. I was curious about this line. The DK Sportsbook line has Minnesota as 3.5-point favorites. The over-under is 45. Minnesota has won 4 in a row. They have not all been pretty, but they have won them. And their opponents are throwing the football 66.4% of the time. That is because their rushing defense has been so good. And so for the James Conner experience this week, it's a tough matchup for a player that has a great rest of season schedule against the run.
Mm-hmm.
But you need him to catch the football in this game is the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, this is I can't imagine benching James Conner. You might have a way to do it based on what you saw last week and how bad this matchup is. For the most part, I think people are going to have him in their lineup and probably have a more of a down game.
Yeah.
The Cardinals strike me as a team that looks at last week's tape and go, how did we give James Conner 7 attempts? How did we do that? And we scored 6 points. And in a game they should have easily won, you hold a divisional opponent to 16 points and you don't win. I'm back in on Conner.
But whether they can or not, I mean, this is Conner having one of his worst games was Detroit where he was 9 for 17, didn't catch the football. That's your worst case scenario at least, but they can give it a go. And he has had some performances in games this year where you kind of thought he would get shut down on the ground and had more success.
I mean, I still think he is in consideration for other options. Like,
do you have any names?
Yeah, so let's talk Rico Dowdle, Kareem Hunt, Tyrone Tracy. Those 3 names. I mean, obviously James Conner's been amazing on the course of the season, but we have to be realistic with, what the matchups are this week.
It was Rico, Kareem, and who was Tracy?
Yeah.
I'd play Conner over all of them.
Conner has here's where you should be encouraged. His last 2 games, he's had 5 targets and 5 catches in each of them. But I do think you're going to need that to get into the top 24. I think you're going to need the passing game work.
Sure.
Or a touchdown. So I do feel nervous. I have him. I feel nervous playing him. Aaron Jones on the other side. The Cardinals defense right now, over the last 6 weeks, fantasy points allowed, the least given up to quarterbacks, 5th against wideouts, 4th against tight ends. They have been just plain good.
Yeah, I don't understand it because their personnel
it doesn't
match top 5 type of shutdown defense.
But I do think we're lagged on that. I think Garrett Williams is an outstanding cornerback. I think Budda Baker is the,
Top
one
three
of the,
safety.
Yeah, one of the best players in the NFL, and now they're getting, hopefully, Darius Robinson back soon. They have been good on defense. So, could they win this game? Yeah, they could go on the road and win this game. The Vikings, your start-sit decisions, are you chasing Addison? Him and Waddle last week went wild. How do you feel about Addison with relation to the Waddle performance? Because Addison's been not good.
I would prefer Waddle.
Yeah, I would prefer Waddle as well. Addison has not been good until this 1 week, and now everything you just said about the defense and what they've been doing over the last 6 weeks, it's not a good matchup either. So I'm not chasing Jordan Addison at all. I would be much more comfortable with T.J. Hawkinson in the passing game as that number 2 option to Justin Jefferson, and obviously you start Justin Jefferson.
Kyler Murray, Sam Darnold, if you were choosing between these two players this week, are you taking the home guy in Darnold?
Yes.
Or the fact that they're passing the ball, opponents of Minnesota are passing it like crazy?
Yeah, I'm going to take Kyler in that one. Everything we're talking about the defense, the Minnesota Vikings rush defense is so good, but their passing defense is more exploitable, so I think Kyler will have to air it out a little bit. And this, I feel like this could end up being a lower scoring game.
McBride, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Hawkinson, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Marvin, Mike is giving you the pat on the butt that we've needed to put him in your lineup. Play him over Addison. Play him over Jaden Reed.
Yes.
All right, the Colts are 5-7. They take on the 3-9 New England Patriots. The DraftKings Sportsbook line here, Indianapolis -2.5. The over-under is 42.5. Two basically rookie quarterbacks, right, that have gotten limited starts. Richardson is dead last in catchable throws and check down rate. Like if you want to, tell me he's better than the box score last week, I agree with you. I don't have any problem admitting that. But when you're sitting dead last in catchable throws on the year,
I went
you got
back
some room to grow.
After we talked about his performance on Monday, I went back and watched every throw, and he still just has so many wildly it's uncatchable. It's just like the play is dead before it starts because he throws the ball to an area without players. I mean, it's just you can't run an offense that way.
Yeah, and it's not like the play is called back on penalties or counting as incompletions in his stat line.
Right.
Correct, yeah.
They are opportunity. Like he could have easily – his line last week should have been a fairly bad completion percentage with a touchdown, maybe with a couple big plays. The yardage and the touchdown probably make him an okay fantasy option.
They would have.
And this week he's in play. Like Anthony Richardson is a playable, startable, streamable quarterback this week. He could definitely have a big game. Jason kind of put his hat in the Jonathan Taylor side of things. The matchup's pretty good. The game script could end up that way, but this should tell you something. Indianapolis is just a 2.5-point favorite on the road against New England. New England can move the football. The defense for the Colts, I think it goes a lot deeper than Anthony Richardson for the Colts' struggles this year sitting at 5-7. It goes to the defensive side of the ball, to Taylor not being consistent, to injuries and underwhelming performances by the wide receiver room, to the offensive line play. Let everybody hear me say out loud that could be better for Richardson. Those numbers are going to go up with a better offensive line. So all the way around, this game is a close game projected by Vegas, not the blowout that maybe we would expect.
Yeah, the biggest question mark, I think, is Ramondre Stevenson.
Yes, it is.
It's really hard to decide what to do with a player who's right now the running back 22 on the course of the year, has plenty of games that are very relevant, multi-touchdown games, a ton of reception games, and then he has games like last week where he got the ball, he touched the ball 8 times in that game, 2 targets that he didn't catch. Yeah. And so
I think he's okay this game. I think he's going to be okay this game. I think he's top 24 this game.
So here's my biggest worry is we saw Antonio Gibson out-snap him last week, which Antonio Gibson had been basically not even on the field. And you had him go from the previous month's snap percentages, 81%, 74, 70, 76, down to 42%. So I don't know if maybe he hurt something in the game, and
I mean,
there was.
I think it's the fragility of Ramondre is because it's like he can stand up to a lot of work. Like if you give him, he's a guy you can give 20 carries. Not everyone at the running back position can do that and make it through the game. But when you are so inefficient, and on a bad team, you are always on the precipice of the coach saying, all right, let's see what the other running back can do.
Last week, if you watched that game was gone. That game was lost. It was over. The game plan couldn't be there. The snap counts were 43-42, but the game was lost. So it makes sense that he got 6 carries. Gibson had 6 carries in the game.
Right.
Ramondre had 8. This was not a game they were going to run the football beyond getting blown out in the beginning. I'm throwing it out against. I'm not gonna throw it all away. What we've gotten from Ramondre when he gets a positive home matchup against Indianapolis, a team you can run on. I think they're going to go right back to him. That is just my opinion. I think he's going to be a top 24 guy this year, and there have been weeks this week,
yeah,
and this year.
Okay,
but he has been a player where some people have been caught with him on their bench when he scores 2 touchdowns in recent weeks, and I don't think that that's where you want to be. I'm not going to make Nichols, which, by the way, we just got news that Brian Robinson is practicing.
Oh,
it was it was Brian Robinson will practice.
Which you got to look at. Now they brought Chris Rodriguez up still.
Yeah,
but you got to look at it like when you get that ankle sprain, you either miss nothing or you miss 3. Jason brings it up all the time. I'm playing Ramondre Stevenson unless I have an overtly much more impressive option. Like I'm not going to play Pacheco in his first game back. I'm not going to play Swift.
That's fine.
I'm not going to play Swift against Detroit. I'm okay going Dowdle over him in a plus matchup. That's fine.
Yeah.
Najee?
No, I would play Najee.
Probably play Najee, yeah. Yeah.
I have Ramondre right now just outside of my top 24.
But I'm probably not playing Warren over Ramondre.
No.
That's where I would draw the line. Pittman's my start of the week. Jonathan Taylor's Jason's start of the week. Can you go beyond Pittman in the passing game for Indianapolis?
With confidence, of course not, but with the way that this matchup looks on paper to me, an Alec Pierce 50-yard bomb would not – I know you can say that every single week, but I'm saying it like literally I'm pretty much expecting a huge play from Pierce at some point.
Yes, and you're saying Pierce over like Adonai if you were taking a shot in this game.
Yeah, Pierce always gets his chances, and you would expect Christian Gonzalez to be more focused on Pittman.
The Seahawks are 6-5, taking on the 3-8 New York Jets. The DraftKings Sportsbook line here, Seattle -2. The over-under is 41.5. That's not a lot. So we know that Rodgers will be back out there.
For now.
And we know that Geno Smith loves to throw the football, but, Jets defense is top half against wide receivers. So Metcalf's been a little bit disappointing. I think the prescription's just been keep throwing him out there.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, you've got Sauce Gardner there, but you've brought this up a lot recently, Andy. The Jets defense has not been very good recently.
Correct.
They started the year great, and I think there was hope, but I feel like the vibes there, I mean, your coaches are fired, your GMs are fired, everything is bad there. These are human beings that I don't think the defense is playing as hard as they absolutely can, because this is a team in the middle of a collapse.
Well, they are coming off the bye week. They might not have Breece Hall. We are waiting to hear more and more. Jason's not thrilled with that. You have
where would you slot? I mean, it's of course top of head, but Braylon Allen, Breece Hall is out. Braylon Allen jumps to be a top 20, top 15, top 10. Where does he go for you?
Not top 10.
Okay.
Probably back end 19 to 25.
I'd probably have him above that. I mean, I think right now Breece is like the running back 12 in our rankings.
Right around there, yeah.
Somewhere around there, running back 15.
It's like an Aaron Jones, David Montgomery. Would you be going like, I'm going to put Braylon in?
No.
Okay.
No.
No, maybe it's part of me having seen the Seahawks defense look very good last week, shutting down James Conner. Maybe they figured some things out on the defensive side. Seattle's offense, for all the enjoyment of the passing volume, let's not make a mistake here. Just because you throw it a bunch doesn't mean you score a bunch. We've seen this. They lost with 10 points against Buffalo. They lost with 20 against the Rams. They won with 20 against San Francisco. They won with 16, and 6 of the 16 was on the defensive side. So they only scored 10 points at home last week. You can throw it a lot, but still not get into the end zone. That's, I don't have overly high expectations of them going on the road and putting up a ton of points in this with the over-under where it's at. But JSN, Metcalf,
Yeah.
Ken Walker,
Yep.
those guys are just in your lineup.
And Seattle, seriously, stop it.
With the Charbonne
Yeah,
zone.
look, we all loved Zach Charbonnet coming out of college. I get it. We loved him.
Yeah.
Second-round pick. You
Oh.
loved him too. Stop it.
Yeah, we've grown up.
Yeah.
We've moved on. You need to.
He was banged up. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams.
I don't care. I need him to play more.
You like Devontae over Garrett Wilson this week? Devontae has.
I'd play Garrett.
Why is that?
I think Garrett Wilson's the better player. And
Okay.
Devontae, but Garrett Wilson or Devontae Adams?
Yeah.
Well-
I was just asking because Garrett's been outside the top 40 for 2
Yes.
straight weeks. Adams with a week of a bye week to get more acclimated. He had a couple good games before.
They're both involved. They're both going to get 7+ targets. So it's really I don't mind taking the Garrett Wilson side if you believe he's the better player. I do think that Adams will,
I think the targets are going to go on his side.
Yeah, I agree. I think he'll out-target Garrett Wilson in this matchup. I see both of them as like a low-end wide receiver too.
All right, a reminder here as we're in the middle of the matchups, we will have a hashtag we'll be sharing. And if you tweet at us on X, at the FF Ballers, and use the hashtag, you'll be entered to win one of our fun Megalodon episode giveaways. Jason, we've got a signed Jefferson jersey. We got a signed HN
Oh, I want that one.
jersey.
I'm going
and
to
then,
tweet.
do you want the signed Brees Hall helmet?
No, I don't. I want to take it and I want to drop kick it out of this studio. I'm very mad at Brees. I'm
This is
so
a real-
invested into him.
This is a real tough thing. You're going through it.
I am. I'm going through it. I'm also tired. Hey, we got them smelling salts?
Oh.
This
You
is
need to
the,
ride
this
the
is the
lightning.
time.
Feeling a little bit
I
tired?
need to ride the lightning. Give me a smelling salt.
Well, don't leave me out. Don't leave me out.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna peer
Your
pressure
hatred
me?
of Brees Hall, who was the running back. Oh, wait, I got one too. Is the running back 11. Dude, he's got like 2 awful games. What are you doing? Are we seriously going to smell these salts?
Well, you don't have to. I did.
It's gonna.
I went hard.
It's gonna put that thing down right there.
Yeah, brother.
Dude, look at these watery eyes.
Just take one of mine, man.
Nah, man, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, I went hard.
Is this the same pack we had from the original Megalodon episode?
It is.
My brain
Yep.
is bleeding.
You went so hard.
How do those guys all the time?
Oh,
Well, when you're concussed, you can kind of take it a little bit more.
okay.
You back?
Are the deucers going to give it a rip over there?
Oh, it looks like.
Oh, Josh went. Josh went.
Yes.
Don't poop yourself.
Go for it.
Oh, Josh is. Josh is.
I can see sound waves right now.
I can hear colors.
Flying. I'm flying, boys.
Oh, man.
It's always a good time.
All right, we're awake. And you need to be awake.
It was all left nostril. It's just like,
every time.
Okay. Well,
That's why they – what is that, ammonia? Is that the –
Yeah.
why did I pronounce it
Ammonia?
so perfectly?
It's 15% ammonia
Uh,
and 35% alcohol.
Aluminium.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. All right.
Well, let's press on. You awake now, Jay?
I am super awake.
Is your
man.
brain bleed stopped?
Nope.
You're going to need it because it's the Titans Commanders.
Yeah, the Titans are 3-8, the Commanders 7-5. Although the Titans, big upset last week, knocking off the Texans. The DraftKings Sportsbook line here: Washington -5.5. The over/under is 45. Kind of, a weird week last week for both of them. Washington losing to Dallas, Tennessee upsetting Houston in Houston. Both of the passing defenses have been pretty stingy this year. Jaden Daniels, Will Levis taking on one another. Jaden Daniels, where are you with him at this juncture, because I think a lot of people, maybe it's posh to say, but they're flipping over to Bo Nix as a much better rookie quarterback.
I don't know. I'm not going that far. It's.
I mean, this guy's still Jaden Daniels, still 68% completion on the year.
Yeah, still a very good quarterback. Where the hope is that 7 for 74 on the ground. I mean, since you go back a few weeks, he got, at the beginning of the year, he's running wild. He's an absolute fantasy stud. Hurts the ribs. And then it really slowed down after that. So the 7 for 74 is that's the hope that the ribs are back to the place that we will get a healthy Jaden Daniels out there.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm happy to hear. I'm happy to hear you speaking, because there was a pause there that I thought maybe you were still seeing the future.
We can all have an aneurysm from time to time. I think that Jaden Daniels, if he's mobile, if he's rushing, he's going to be great for fantasy. His numbers were obviously inflated last week with a giant, insane play with Terry McLaurin that you were feeling bad about. I still question the offense as a whole. Like, they didn't look good last week against Dallas. The end result for fantasy football was a success. I mean, he was literally the quarterback one. But I worry about the offense as a whole.
Burrow or Jaden?
I'd go Burrow.
Okay.
But that's
yeah, I would go Burrow as well.
All right, but Jaden top 8.
Yeah.
The Titans defense is not a bad defense, especially when they feel like they have a chance to win the ball game. Last week, Pollard got it done.
Okonkwo, man.
Yeah, he had the big 70-yard touchdown. That was a play, if you saw that play, where nobody thought he could run that fast.
No.
Everybody had angles that said, oh, he's just a tight end, and then he's like, bro!
Well, it's because he runs duck-footed, man. His feet were, pointed out.
What?
Wait, what? Is this an observation I have missed?
Yes, I'll watch that run, and I'm telling you, his feet are, pointed just to –
Why is that? Because they thought he couldn't run fast because he was running?
You watch someone run with their duck feet out, and you're like, that guy can't be that fast.
I had no clue about this.
Yeah, and so
he's a duck runner?
I guess his duck feet.
All right. Well, that's in contention now. Calvin Ridley, a 31% target share over his last 5 games.
Yep.
And
just keep playing him.
Yeah, keep playing him. 5 for 93 last week. He's not going to have many games where he's not giving you something, and he can give you a lot. Nick Westbrook-Akine, touchdown in 6 of 7. If you want to stay in the flames there.
He can't keep getting away with it.
He should have an at-your-own-risk sign, right?
I mean, it's unbelievable how few receptions he has for how many touchdowns he has. He's got a 50% touchdown rate.
I'm with you, man. I hate it.
I'm not
Terry
doing
McLaurin.
it.
Well, I like the snaps though. Terry McLaurin, obviously play him. Zach Ertz, he's been on fire. He's not sexy, and he knows it, but he gets into the end zone and he gets targets. I'd play him over Pitts. I'd play him over Disley. I'd play him over my start of the week Muth.
Yep, I'm with you there.
I think I would go Disley above him, but I agree with everyone else.
And then did we do the RBs here?
Well, no, that's where I was circling. See,
okay.
I was going around.
Well, Brooks was like, game covered.
I was circling to the main point.
Oh, you deleted it now, Brooks. I saw it.
He thought we covered the whole game.
You got caught.
It's not like we haven't talked. I mean, he's right. We've talked about the running back room, but right now, just to lay it all out real quick, Jeremy McNichols, a very popular free agent pickup.
What?
Eckler dealing.
That's not how you say my name.
Jermimi? Was that what it was?
Jermini McNichols.
Dude, it's a long show, man.
We're fading.
I was so preoccupied in saying McNichols correctly that I was
McNichols.
willing to lose Jeremy on the other side. What did I say, Jeremy?
I think you went Jermimi.
Oh my gosh.
We'll check the tape. But what do you do now if Brian Robinson is practicing?
If he plays, I'm playing Brian Robinson with fear and trembling.
That's what I mean.
If he plays, I'm not playing McNichols, Rodriguez, or anybody else. If Brian Robinson sits down, you can roll the dice with McNichols. You can roll the dice with Rodriguez.
It's just where I know the numbers are definitely okay. You sprain the ankle, you either come back or you're gone for a while. But it's still I mean, it's still a loss of production. He's still going to be playing on an injured ankle, and
all right, let me help. Let me help.
With chance of re-injury.
If you've got somebody that you can play on Thursday, I wouldn't be dancing around with practice reports waiting on Brian Robinson.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah.
That
Like
makes
if you
sense.
have Rico Dowdle,
I think it's
play Rico Dowdle.
I think it's important
Play Tracy.
advice as well, because this is one of those times where, we talk about it a lot, that if you've got players on Monday Night Football, you've got to be careful. You've got to have a pivot option. You need to kind of treat Sunday like that. Like if you've got a player that's questionable on Sunday, you're going to have a lot of your lineup that has already played on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, 8 teams, right?
Yeah.
All right, Houston 7-5, Jacksonville's 2-9. The DraftKings Sportsbook line: Houston on the road -4, over/unders 43.5. We will hopefully see a bounce back performance by the Houston offense.
We will.
It's on the table for them. Jacksonville is so anemic.
They're very good at being bad at defense. They're one of the best ranked defenses if you look at the ones to target. So I want to be really positive about the Jacksonville Jaguars defense and talk about the good side of how terrible they are.
Yeah, we love them.
I mean, they are literally bottom 3 in everything that you can find. I don't care what position you play them all.
What about head coaches?
Bottom 3.
Okay.
Or
Backup quarterbacks?
I want to look at that glass half. They're top 3 in coaches that can get fired.
Okay.
Okay.
Top 3 in coaches on their last leg.
The great news is that right now Trevor Lawrence is expected to practice, and that is the biggest question for this game, because I don't think with the Mac Jones experiment, or even if they went to
you need
CJ
him out
Beathard,
there if you want Houston to play well.
Exactly. Trevor Lawrence makes a massive difference for all fantasy assets.
Is he a top 3 injured quarterback right now?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll do that. We have more great news.
That's also the only path for Brian Thomas Jr. to help you the rest of the season is the return of Trevor Lawrence.
More great news to stop you from making a mistake. Tank Bigsby will be full go in practice, meaning you don't have to look at Travis Etienne and go, well, he's all by himself.
You don't have to look at either one.
I'm saying.
Yeah, just
because
sit him.
If Tank is out, I totally understand the – like we're
temptation?
We're talking about playing Jeremy McNichols because he's all by himself. Like I get the temptation.
Yeah.
But you can remove that if Tank is a full go.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Jason.
No, I'm not playing either guy.
I agree that I want to play neither, especially while both are healthy. But I do not believe it will stay as bad for Travis Etienne as
it's been every game
for
the whole entire year,
as it's been every game since his hamstring injury. And they didn't have Trevor Lawrence, so you don't know what the offense. I mean, touchdowns are kind of his thing. So I'm just saying.
So you're going to scrape the carbon off the dinner roll and eat it.
I'm
because it sounds like you're going to eat it out of the trash.
I've put it in the refrigerator
you
for
pulled
later.
It from the trash though,
but it didn't touch anything gross.
You sure?
Yeah, it was on a clean
Mike
box.
has been shaking his head for like 45 seconds.
No.
All right.
He's basically, I'm just saying, you don't start him now, but don't drop him. I think things can get better for a talented player.
I would not drop him either.
Evan Ingram, where are we with Evan Ingram?
Sad.
Everything's sad on the Jacksonville side.
It
How about,
really is.
Let's talk more positively. Mixon, Collins, Stroud, my start of the week. Is that it? Is Tank Dell can we do this week?
You can do Tank Dell this week. I mean, you don't have to, but against Jacksonville, they're going to give up a lot of points. This is a real get-right game, I think, for the Texans, and they need it.
Yeah, and like I said, if it's not Trevor Lawrence and it's Mac Jones, is Brian Thomas Jr. on your bench, or are you just going for it?
No, he's probably on my bench, as is Tank Dell. Tank Dell, I will start if Trevor Lawrence is playing, but not if he's not.
All right.
Just because I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have
Brian
to be able
Thomas
to
on
score
your
to
bench
keep up.
here. I mean, I need some names like the guys from Chicago.
Yeah, I'd probably try Keenan out after last week, and the new offensive coordinator giving you hope that it's prescriptive.
Yeah,
I'd play Keenan over him.
Sure.
What about the Green Bay guys?
I'd play the Green
Reed.
Bay guys.
I wouldn't play the other two.
Yeah,
I'd play Thomas over Wicks and over Watson.
yeah. So Reed, Brian Thomas,
Yeah.
Wicks, or Watson Wicks.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with some more matchups because there's more football to be played. The Los Angeles Rams sitting at 5-6 in a competitive division, taking on the New Orleans Taysom Hills, who are 4-7, but just put up a ton of points. DraftKings Sportsbook line, Rams minus 2.5 on the road. The over-under is 49. It's the second highest total of the week. Can we have some fun here?
Maybe.
Wow. Is this game going to be fun?
There were extensive comments about Taysom Hill from head coach Darren Rizzi. If you want to go back and listen to the whole press conference, you will get a picture into why every coach in the world loves Taysom Hill. There were lots of hyperbolic statements. He is the highest IQ player he's ever seen. You need to work him into a little bit of everything everywhere, but not too much, but a lot. He said that what he did in this last game where he scored 40 points was kind of what they're trying to trend towards. They want to work him into everything. They want him to throw the passes. They want him to catch the passes. They want him to return kicks. They want him to run the football. They want him to run in the red zone. They want to sprinkle him in a little bit of everywhere, which to me, this guy loves Taysom Hill.
Everyone
and not
loves
the
Taysom
first.
Hill. Everyone but Mike loves Taysom Hill.
So I think Taysom Hill is actually – he's a hard player to rank, but I think he's pretty high up the list.
He is extremely difficult to rank.
And he's someone that is coming off of waivers in a lot of leagues, so you will have teams that have a tight end that you might be choosing, you know, do I start Hawkinson or Taysom Hill? You know, I think that would be like the hardest line to draw for me because Bowers, McBride, those guys are easy.
I think the hardest one for me would be Kittle without Brock.
Yeah, I could see that.
I know he got it done last week. Brandon Allen? I can't remember.
Braylon Allen?
No.
Brandon Allen?
Not Braylon.
It's not Braylon.
Kyle Allen?
It's one of the,
Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that guy.
That one. It was
so it absolutely got done for George Kittle. But like that's the line. Other than that, I think it's worth the risk of Taysom.
We all want to know if you could get
Otton is so.
You know what's crazy is if Taysom, if like you knew he had X amount of snaps, there's just no way he's not great. It's always about whether he's utilized.
Yeah, and the truth is he has been touching the ball a lot. And you used to look at Taysom as much less safe because you don't know that he's going to have the opportunities. However, he has actual manufactured opportunities. You know, a target is worth more than a rushing attempt, but a target is not guaranteed, whereas his rushing attempts are like they're calling handoffs for him. So I think he's fairly safe.
Obviously, Alvin Kamara's in your lineup, although he hasn't scored a touchdown since week 6. He gets so many opportunities. And, you know, the question will be, do you dare with MVS? Do you take a shot? Or, you know, he is just – he's playing a defense that's the 6th highest explosive pass plays given up.
I look at him and Christian Watson as so similar. And in one of these, there's a very high over-under, and in the other, there's some snow and a tough defense.
So you lean the MVS direction?
I do, but it's gross to say out loud.
It is. It's gross to hear it.
Nasty boys win championships.
They do. And they ain't no one nastier than Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
He just needed Derek Carr to succeed.
The thing that's weird is that it's kind of the combination, right, that he is new to the team, and they lost their deep threat. They lost a deep threat who Derek Carr constantly was in sync with and hitting on big plays. So I do believe you will have 2 shots per game his way.
Yeah.
Now, MVS would be happy to drop those passes. And we can come on
Nasty boy.
We can come on the show and be like, "Oh, he should have had a touchdown." That's a shame on us. We put him in the lineup. We know he could drop them. But if you are needing an explosive option, you know, he's sitting on waivers and you could plug him in.
Kyren, Kupp, Puka in your lineup. No word on whether Demarcus Robinson will be active for this game. The team is yet to mention it. You're not messing with tight ends at all on the Rams, who are going to get Tyler Higbee back soon. Matthew Stafford against the Saints in this one. Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I mean, Stafford is one of the weirdest players because he can perform really well and not be great for fantasy. It's just peculiar that way. I mean, he had a game
touchdowns
3 weeks ago where he completed 32 passes, attempted 46 of them, 70% completion rate, passed for 300 yards, wasn't in the top 20.
Yeah, because of touchdowns.
Yeah.
So this is a matter of, do you think Kyren Williams? I mean, the matchup is great for Kyren Williams to score touchdowns. I mean, you're always going to start Puka. You're always going to start Cooper Kupp because they can be great without touchdowns. Cooper Kupp, those guys can each have 10 for 150 and no touchdowns, and they were great, but it doesn't translate to Stafford if he's not throwing the touchdowns. And in this matchup, I think he's fine as like a quarterback 2, like a good super flex quarterback.
That's where I have him, yeah.
But that's it.
But I think Kyren Williams has a rushing touchdown or 2 in this game.
Tampa Bay's 5-6. They take on the 3-8, yet somewhat interesting at this moment in time, especially with their schedule down the stretch. The Carolina Panthers. The DraftKings Sportsbook line, Tampa -6, over-under is 46.5. This one would have been tempting. I'm not going to do it, but this one would have been tempting.
Ooh.
Carolina's been playing much, much better,
but
not good enough, probably.
And the Bucs have, despite losing some games recently, before their bye week, they had 4 losses in a row. They've been playing outstanding. Their 4 losses were against Baltimore, Kansas City, the 49ers. Like these were tough matchups where they played well. They lost Mike Evans. Then you saw him last week off the bye. Mike Evans is back. They destroyed the Giants. I think I will be shocked if this is a competitive game.
I see this chart in here showing how much better the Buccaneers have run the football under Liam Cohen, their offensive coordinator, compared to before when they had Canales and then Leftwich. I don't think it's a coaching.
I think
it's called the Bucky Irving experience. I think you'd love to have run the football with Rachaad White. I don't think Rachaad White was that guy to run the football. He can catch it, can't run it. And, the Carolina defense, to your point, Jason, they've given up a ton of rushing touchdowns. So, we got to hope Bucky Irving can get in there, and it's not going to be Sean Tucker on the 1. Sean Tucker's role might just be the 1.
Oh, man.
But that doesn't mean they're going to force
terrible role. Don't ruin Thanksgiving week for everybody.
I still love Bucky Irving. You guys were sitting here complaining about Charbonnet and the involvement. Everybody's going to have involvement from somebody else, but Bucky Irving, the tackle breaking, the efficiency.
He's been awesome.
He's 4th in explosive rush rate among all running backs, so 15-plus yard rushes. He's 3rd in forced missed tackle. That's what I see on film every week. Is that James Conner? You know what I mean? It's like he is breaking tackles on every play.
Which is weird because he came into the league as this undersized back, and that was the real knock about him. Right, but he doesn't play. He doesn't look like it.
No, he doesn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like he gets on a scale.
It's the red. The red makes you.
It's not. It's ferocity. It is the Thomas Rawls experience. He is 1st in yards after contact per attempt. Number 1. So you touch him, he gets the most yards after than anybody else. So I think he's a stud in this matchup. You got to start him. Chuba, you've got to start on the other side. The Tampa Bay defense can't defend the running back.
And I think you start Rachaad White as well. I would start Bucky Irving over Rachaad White, but Rachaad White has been good. You look at the last – I mean, this is one of those teams, just like the Lions, where you got 2 running backs that you're going to be starting both of them.
So Mike Evans, get him in there. Cade Otton, Mike's start of the week on the Tampa side. And Baker Mayfield is Jason's start of the week where, he's got 8 finishes inside the top 10 this year. He only had 5 all of last year. He's playing so well, and they're putting a lot into his he just has so much responsibility for making this team go. Last year, it was like, oh, Baker's kind of still like a good player. This year, it's his team.
Mm-hmm.
This is his offense. On the other side, what's the roulette like with the Carolina wide receivers? Because
It is.
the opportunity's there, but
Yes, it
you
is
know, can you-
extremely difficult because on the season the Bucs are 26th against wide receivers. It just Adam Thielen. That was Thielen's first game back.
it was
Right.
Yes.
So,
but David Moore was better.
So
Legette's,
you think he's going to get tired?
si-
Now that it's like that was his best
probably
chance. To
Probably, but his first game back, only 61% of the snaps, 3 for 57.
would you play him over David Moore? That's the question. Because if you're taking a shot at an opportunity here,
I think
Thielen
I
or Moore?
would. I think I'd go Thielen.
I'd play Legette over both those guys.
I would as well.
And I'm
Legette's
okay
the
with
player
that.
I want. He plays, almost every single snap. He's, a very, very good athlete against this matchup. I think Legette is a good play. Like he could have a very big week this week.
A what?
A very big week.
Very weird.
Very big
We're
week.
breaking down.
Jeremy McNichols.
Jermimi.
The Eagles are 9-2, taking on the 8-4 Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Ooh la la!
Ah, that's fun.
The DraftKings Sportsbook line: Baltimore -3. The over/under is 51.5. Vegas said, "I don't care about your defensive metrics. You are Lamar Jackson at home in a big game. So we're just gonna assume you figure it out." And I think that's probably the right assumption.
Yeah. You also have a couple of defensive injuries for the Eagles. Darius Slay will be out with a concussion. Brandon Graham out for the season with a torn tricep. So, this is great news for fantasy. I'm sorry.
Did you see Brandon Graham in the locker room where how he was just like talking to the reporters and like breaking the news that he's out for this season, but he was just
I missed it. I didn't know.
It was so casual. He's like, yeah, no, I'm gonna be gone for the rest of the year. And they're like, what? And he's like, yeah, I tore my tricep right here. He's like, I'll be gone.
Wow.
I'm out. He was just casual. Story of last week: Saquon Barkley on pace to break all the records. MVP contention. He's third in the MVP race right now.
It's fun. We get the two old men running backs here.
Barkley, Henry. Yeah,
Yeah.
Henry's on pace for 1,800 yards.
Turns out running backs matter.
I saw something wild. Saquon right now in his pace, because he's on pace to break all the records, like the rushing record, and he's getting paid less per year right now than Adrian Peterson was getting paid on an average annual salary when Peterson broke the record.
Makes sense.
Whatever it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
When the salary cap was like 120 or 150 million, and it's 240 million now. And not that AP wasn't, he was an MVP type guy, but kind of wild. But Derrick Henry, Saquon, don't think about it. Just play him.
Yep.
A.J. Brown, same story. We'll monitor Devontae Smith. He missed last week with a hamstring. It's a big game, but it's scary.
Yeah, it really is scary. Hamstrings are usually more than 1 week. I mean, we've seen it with a lot of guys that don't go on IR and they miss a handful of weeks. I expect Devontae.
It's a handful at that point, but go on. Go
very
on.
nice.
Yeah.
I doubt he plays, but a really big, really important game. I'm hopeful he gets out there, and if he is out there, I will start him.
And you're starting Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews?
Correct. Yeah.
And the quarterbacks.
You want pieces of a game that could end up with 60 points.
I'm getting an update here that Slay might not be ruled out yet.
Okay, so not ruled out, but still in protocol.
Yes, I believe the report that we had read was maybe referring to him being ruled out of the last game.
Gotcha.
But they're still in protocol. So I want to
Okay.
correct that.
All right.
But Brandon Graham is out. Anybody else in this game that we need to talk
this
about? I mean,
one's an
Dallas
easy one.
Goedert, if Smith is out, not into
we've
it.
talked about so many tight ends that I think are
Yeah.
legitimately fine options. I don't think you have to go
And he
all the way down.
Goddard was 4 for 19 last week.
By the way, I believe Isaiah Likely had 0 catches last week. So like the Mark Andrews, 6 touchdowns, 7 games. Isaiah Likely, 0 targets, 0 catches. Let's get back to normal here.
Yeah, thank you.
Sunday Night Football, the 49ers, who have not been normal, 5-6, taking on the 9-2, coming off the bye, Buffalo Bills, who are getting healthier. The DraftKings Sportsbook line here, Buffalo -7. Yeah, I see that. Over-under is 44.5. That's weird. It's weird to read it, but I think the Bills are going to blow them out. The Bills are one of the most disciplined teams
They're
on
going
both
to annihilate him.
I think
What
they're-
was the word?
Oh, what did you say? Demolished.
Demolished.
Yes, a demolishing. I declare a demolishing.
Now, is Brock Purdy part of the reason why they're going to get demolished? Because he's not going to be. You think
I don't
if
think
Brock
it
Purdy
matters.
is there?
I think it's a demolish regardless. But Buffalo, maybe the line is more predictive of Purdy not playing. The Bills are on fire. They're playing great football. They have had a pile of injuries. Didn't have Dalton Kincaid. Didn't have Keon Coleman. Didn't have was it Milano that's coming back? Take a look on the defensive side. They're getting pieces back on that side of the ball.
I think Milano's out for the year.
Well,
I could be
that's
wrong.
what the check was. I need to know. They're getting somebody back on the defensive side. Somebody will let me know. But, Amari Cooper gets a bye week to get more acclimated into the offense and can make a big play. The 49ers can't defend against the run.
Did you mention the Keon Coleman limited at practice?
Yeah, he very well could be back.
And Dalton Kincaid will not practice.
Okay, yeah. So maybe they'll get nobody back. But Matt Milano is out of the red non-contact jersey and ramping up to play.
Oh, all right.
So I don't know. I've just seen so much dysfunction on the San Francisco side offensively. Maybe this is the one they put it together, but going on the road in Buffalo is a hard place to do it. Your quarterback is either out or he's back and he's dealing with an injury that's not like it's here or it's not, right? It's a pain tolerance, it's a soreness, it's a can Deebo Samuel, who's barely getting involved in this offense, and Juwan Jennings lead them to glory here? I don't know.
And this is
Pearsall hasn't caught a pass in 2 weeks.
This is also a chance for snow. It's going to be a very, very, very cold game. Right now, 23 degrees with a chance of snow is projected for Sunday night.
Yeah, I don't want to be the only voice here. Do you guys see San Francisco as an upset potential team here?
I do not. No. Sorry, I'm buried in Twitter right now. I was trying to make sure we're not missing any.
Just some cool threads you were reading?
Yeah.
Some funny memes and stuff?
Yeah, guys, there's some really good video game stuff going on right now.
Oh, let's talk about it.
No, it's not. It's for later.
Okay.
So what were you looking at on Twitter?
That Trevor Lawrence is on track to play.
That is great news. What about Brock Purdy?
So the update we have on him is he threw some Monday. He took Tuesday off, and they're planning to see how he does on Wednesday.
Yeah, Buffalo. Buffalo. Khalil Shakir, you okay giving him a go? PPR?
Yes, I am.
Would you play Kincaid if he's back out there? It's not like he was great before.
I would prefer not to.
Okay. Definitely Taysom Hill over Mr. Kincaid.
Yes.
Monday Night Football, the most entertaining quarterback in the history of the universe, who I can't stop watching videos of, Cleveland Browns and Jameis Winston at 3-8, taking on the Denver Broncos at 7-5. I just watched Jameis Winston pull into one of those, it's like a Sonic. It was a Swenson's or something. They put the tray on the door because they got the door trays. His mind is blown. His mind is blown. This is the coolest thing he's ever seen in his life, that you get to keep the tray at the car while you eat.
He's like a 7-year-old.
I'd say he's like a puppy that just sees the world with such wonder.
But we love it, right? We love it.
I just don't think it's a shtick. You know what I mean?
Oh,
no,
it's not.
No. When he's mic'd up, that's not good for him. You know what I mean? If he's mic'd
great
up,
for everyone else.
the stuff he says is incredible. They just won the ball game, the Snow Bowl against Pittsburgh. They have to go to Denver. Denver's 5.5-point home favorites. The over-under's 42. I do like Denver in the game. There's a bit of a you don't know what you're going to get from Winston. But the Denver defense, it's stout. Are you confident enough in his receiving weapons to play them, like Jerry Jeudy?
I am.
Elijah Moore.
Judy is in.
Judy, I'm playing. I mean, this is a very difficult defense, but I believe Jameis is going to air it out, and I'm going to start. I'm definitely starting Jerry Jeudy, but I believe Cedric Tillman, if he passes concussion protocol, Elijah Moore, I think those are flex options.
Yeah, Elijah Moore, especially if Tillman doesn't end up playing, and if Tillman is out, then you hope it's better for Njoku, because it's been okay-ish.
Well, Njoku, I mean, the most awful
touchdown
egregious drop I can remember seeing. It was a gimme of a touchdown and he dropped it, we would feel totally different about that last week because the previous week he was 9 for 81, super involved.
Yeah, I feel
and
confident.
they drew up a touchdown for him.
Yeah,
So
but the week before that he was 5 for 29. I was just saying it's been up and down.
On the other side, the running back dungeon that is Javonte, Estimate, McLaughlin. Are we just staying as far away from that as we can? The Browns can play the run.
yeah, you don't play any of them under any circumstance.
So Sutton, Bo Nix locks into your lineup. They've been so good together. Is this where you like Nix, but we don't like many of the weapons? I mean, it's Sutton only?
Yeah, I mean,
is for
obviously
me.
Troy Franklin is one of the best players in the history of the National Football League. Is way better than Marvin Mims.
I would play. I think Vele is in contention.
Vele has, I mean, he's
9 targets, 6 catches, 80 yards.
he's always getting the targets. He is higher up the pecking order than these other guys, but for the most part, I think Cortland Sutton and check out.
Shout out Bo Nix, quarterback 3 since week 5, and it
wild.
probably keeps happening at home in this one. Wait, was that the last? Is there no Monday
was.
Night Football? Oh my gosh!
That was Monday Night Football.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
That's what
Dude,
confused
the
me. That was a trick
Megalodon.
question.
It's in. Hold on.
Takes it
Oh,
out of you.
It's in our heads. That means we need to. We still got some segments here, but I think now's a good time to release the hashtag. Now, do we need to have a little bit of a round table about this?
Yeah,
or
let's
has this been already figured out?
Well, I mean, we've got what are the options? You got
There's one option.
Jermimi.
Well, there's 2. I liked duck feet, but
Duck feet in a normal world when Jason doesn't open the show with the
Yeah.
word spatchcock.
yeah.
Yeah, it's spatchcock.
Yeah.
I mean, we know it's spatchcock. All right. Yeah, because
Hashtag spatchcock.
and it's
Nothing bad can happen from this.
No,
Now, do
saying
we
that-
want to? I mean, is that spatchcock or spatchcocking? What are you doing?
it's just spatchcock.
You're gonna smatchcock.
Yeah, like I said,
Yes.
nothing can go wrong.
Oh.
Nothing.
Oh yes, he goes smash. Yep. Yes, sir. Oh, so let me spell that for everyone.
Please,
Spatchcock, spelled S-P-A-T-C-H.
Mike.
C-O-C-K. Mike is tickled.
You didn't come in here with that term knowing it was going to be the hashtag.
I had no idea. I was just talking about.
you were just casually talking about it.
He was Jameis excited. He wanted to talk about
He
making
was.
a turkey.
You were
Yeah,
Jameis.
I got to take a spine out today.
Justin Jefferson signed jersey. H.N. signed
Oh,
jersey. Brees
gosh.
Hall signed mini helmet. At the FF Ballers on X. Use the hashtag. Tag us.
The P is doing a lot of lifting in that.
In
that word.
Spatchcock is the hashtag.
Yeah.
And I guess
Get that trending on Twitter. See what happens.
yeah,
People are going to be confused.
yeah, that's troubling.
Almost as good as Thanksgiving.
Almost.
Well, surprise, everybody. The
What?
the Megalodon leaves you with some special things.
Jason Moore's ironclad, locked and loaded, 100% guaranteed boom boom kicker of the week.
Oh my goodness, it's back.
We're back, baby. My
Let's-
boom boom excellence was summoned to dish out comeuppance for the dumb and remove kickers and their dung-filled butts. For the Megalodon was my mounted beast. I had promised him a Thanksgiving feast, a hearty plate full of Denver's Will Lutz. And
How
it's
did
gone.
how did it feel? Like an old friend?
Felt dangerous.
Like a reunion tour.
It felt, man. I don't get nervous, but shaking.
The hands are shaking.
No, you pulled it off. That was pretty good. Will Lutz in the house. All right, we do have the Fantasy Faceoff.
Fantasy Face Off, presented by DraftKings.
I keep scrolling in this doc, just expecting it to keep going forever and ever. Our Fantasy Face-Off this week. Last week, Mike took it home. 137.32 points. That's a nice week.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Mr. Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton.
Yeah, that was a good choice. And I snuck by Jason by 10 points. Jason ends up the wheel of shame.
Wheel of Shame.
All right. Give me that wheel. Take her for a spin.
What do we got here? We
The
got
Megalo Wheel.
Mall Cop, the blender.
Turd Ferg.
Oh,
Monkey business?
monkey business.
Monkey business. All right. What am I working with here? I'm a monkey?
Yeah,
It
something
appears
like that.
you need to take your hat off there, Mr. Moore.
Oh, and
Oh, I
and
forgot.
glasses.
You forgot you were bald?
That's a very shaved white head.
Yeah. Oh, man. Where's this go?
No,
Your face goes
you're
through
putting
it.
your head where your face goes.
This is Jason is there.
I
It is.
think it's backwards now.
Yep, you're
No.
still off.
No, wait. No, that's right.
No, it's not.
No,
It's
your
not
ears
right.
are bad.
The ears are backwards.
Somebody help.
Where your face is right now, put your whole head through that hole.
Yeah. There we now flip it over. No, the other way.
almost.
Like that. There you
Hey,
go.
Yeah.
that's it.
Oh,
That's
baby. And you can breathe and everything. Oh, there it is. Here you go,
Oh.
Jason.
First try.
it. It's adorable.
I am
Oh.
adorable.
Look at this.
This is one of
I have a
my
lot more hair now.
this is one of my favorites.
This is awesome.
He looks ridiculous.
Look. Freaking sweet.
So we're doing a fantasy face-off on the Thanksgiving slate only.
Can't read now.
Yeah,
A
dude.
Thanksgiving.
Do we need to do something with your lineup, or you got it?
I can.
You got the big zoom.
I got it zoomed.
All right, let's start with quarterback and let's start with the Monkey Man.
All right, quarterback. I'm going to look. Here's my
It's a Thanksgiving day only.
Yeah.
It was we're doing the Thanksgiving slate, and he was my hungry for more because he's my quarterback here. I'm taking the hometown Jordan Love in Lambeau, hoping
How
that
much
he
is
can
he?
throw. He is 6,300.
Okay. I'll go next. I'm going with the same game, but I'm taking Tua.
Oh,
So you're
baby.
hungry for more.
That's 6,000 Tua, Mike. You went with?
We are live, boys. I mentioned it as a potential streaming option just in general. I'm taking Cooper Rush
Yeah.
at 4,800
That's
at
cheap.
home against the Giants. And that 4,800 is going to open some things up.
Oh man.
Yeah, it is. Jason, your top two running backs.
My top two running backs are Devon Achane and Jahmyr Gibbs. So I am paying up at the
Wow.
running back position, 7,700, 7,500 respectively.
I did not have that combo. I do have Gibbs at 7,500, but I went with Josh Jacobs at home in Lambeau.
H.N. Gibbs, baby.
Okay.
Okay, so we're the same.
I can put up like a really tough face, but I'm terrified of the fact that you guys have HN.
I mean, our Josh Jacobs versus Jordan Love is. I mean, if Josh Jacobs has a
Yep.
touchdown or two,
Monkey.
I mean, you look
It's so good.
outrageously good.
the monkeys.
And the beard.
The
All
beard
right.
really works with it.
Wide receivers, give them to me.
My wide receivers, I've got the Jaden Reed stack.
You zoomed in enough?
And oh man,
So you got Jaden Reed. How much?
He doesn't know.
my
All right,
my
just-
wide
just read
receivers
'em.
are so bad.
Okay, Jaden Reed.
For
That's all right,
5,700, I've got DJ Moore
Okay.
for 5,600 and Waddle for 5,400.
I went
Oh.
with CeeDee Lamb at 7,300 for the PPR points. I went
Yep.
with Keenan Allen trying to reprise the PPR points there at 5,100. And I took my shot in the dark in this lineup with Dontavian Wicks at 4,200.
CeeDee Lamb, of course. I got Cooper Rush. You know I'm going to put the stack in there. I have Dontavian Wicks at 4,200,
Gal.
and I have DJ Moore at 5,600.
So you guys went more. I went Keenan. Final three, Jason, your tight end, flex, and your defense.
Tucker Kraft to pair with my quarterback at 3,700. I have in my flex another tight end, Jonnu Smith at 4,300, and the Lions defense at home against Caleb Williams. I believe they're the most expensive on the Thursday slate.
How much are they?
3,500.
All right. I went Jonnu Smith as my tight end at 4,300. My flex is Rico Dowdle at 5,500. And then I have the Cowboys defense at home against the Giants at 3,100.
I got Jonnu. I got Rico.
Yeah.
But I got the Miami Dolphins at 2,700 against the Green Bay Packers.
All right. That was Fantasy Forecast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code BALLERS. That's the code BALLERS, and take advantage of special daily promotions only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. The Megalodon is over. Jason, remind him of that hashtag because I can't pronounce it.
Oh, it's spatchcock, baby.
Yep, be careful there. Sunday Live, don't forget it. Mike will be back, right? You're on
Yes,
Sunday
sir.
Live this
Yes,
Sunday?
sir.
And we'll be back with the main show on Monday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving weekend. We love you, Foot Clan. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. 1+ promotion per day. Promotion sport eligibility and requirements vary. Ends December 31st, 2024. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.